Hello, everybody, and welcome to the ET Iconic Brand Summit. I hope you're enjoying the lovely island we've made for you, the main stage when the program is happening. And we have a lot of games that involve your brands, a photo booth to click some great selfies, and don't forget to share it on LinkedIn, Twitter, and use the hashtag ET Iconic Brands. Now, let's get down to business. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the fourth edition of the Iconic Brands of India, presented by the Economic Times. My name is Pavleen Gujral, and I will be your host for the evening. Now, let's start with something somebody very famous said. Jeff Bezos said that a brand for a company is like a reputation for a person. You earn reputation by trying to do hard things well. More often than not, leading brands are the face of leading businesses who excel at their products and services. Any business that enjoys the iconic status can greatly influence or catalyze economic changes by creating more jobs, averaging better pay, and ensuring employee well being. Basically, doing everything right. Now, there is a need today to identify and highlight iconic brands in India as the country stands at the crossroads of economic superiority, digital prowess, young workforce, and a young aspirational consumer whose behavior and demands keeps changing. The Economic Times Iconic Brand Summit is an effort to shine the strobe light on brands and businesses that have scripted successful iconic stories. It will focus on delving deeper into understanding how these businesses have crafted their success, along with the need for iconic brands in India to emerge. Now, without any further ado, let's welcome our first speaker of the day. One of the greatest ironies of history, a company that once owned India is now owned by an Indian entrepreneur, Mr. Sanjeev Mehta. If you haven't guessed it already, I am talking about the East India Company. After acquiring it in 2005, Sanjeev Mehta spent several years studying the company's 400-year-old past through books, museums, and extensive travels across the Commonwealth before carving out an audacious vision for its future. Now, let's hear the story from the man himself. Please welcome Mr. Sanjeev Mehta. Over to you, sir.
A big thank you to Economic Times of India for inviting me to give this keynote address. It's a real honor, and I wish everyone attending this conference a very warm welcome from London. Good afternoon. This season's advertising campaign, So What? New season's catwalk show, So What? Luxury brand and luxury products, So What? A rich and colorful heritage, So what? The So What barometer is the harshest but the fairest test for any brand and can teach something to luxury and heritage brand, in particular, the area I operate in. To apply the test properly, one has to hear the so what question in your head voiced by a 5-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 40-year-old, and a 60-year-old. The baby boomers generation is older now. What will the alpha generation to come will be looking for from future brands? What would my future grandchildren be looking for? Why should future consumers engage with our brands? In my view, the response to the so what needs to spark curiosity, needs to be surprising, daring, truthful, and authentic. The so what factor is also the test for the balance sheet. It represents the intangible value, the ongoing ability to keep the past customer engaged, to reinvent, to find new audiences, and generate accelerated growth against the tide. I well remember my first meeting with one of the former shareholders of the East India Company. He approached me to help him to build a range of teas for his business. My heart started beating fast when I first heard that the East India Company still exists, and I could just not stop thinking about it. I realized that the shareholders then did not have an emotional connect with the brand. They could not recognize the power that was vested in these four letters. Hence, I decided to offer them to buy the shares which they own of the company. I knew that I'll take enormous risk in paying large sum of money to buy a small minority stake in the company, and that to a private limited company. But something inside of me told me that that was the right thing for me to do. Within next 18 months, slowly I bought the rest of the shareholders, and finally I became 100% shareholder of the East India Company. This was a decision I made straight from my heart, but slowly my mind started filtering that decision, and I realized how awesome was this opportunity. While I studied the brand, I studied the history, and I studied the impact, I realized there were three core strengths of this brand, and that became the basis of our strategy to define and carve the brand out of its history. The first was its geographical stretch. Everyone across the British Empire knew of East India Company. We say in English proverb that sun never sets in the British Empire. That is what the East India Company did. From Boston to Brisbane, from Bermuda to Bombay, the expanse and the reach of EIC was vast and deep. The sheer size of the landmass of its awareness extended beyond 2.3 billion people across the world. The next most interesting thing was its design stretch. From Elizabethan to Georgian to Victorian, and to add into this the chins from India, the chinosaries from China, the block prints from Africa, and the arabesque pattern from Middle East. All this vast bank of design became the basis of a possible inspiration. No other brand has such a stretch of authenticity. Most brands have a specific inspiration or a geographical location to build a collection from. For example, when you look at Versace, it's all being inspired from Medusa and Greek mythology. Versace could not build their collection inspired from Jaipur or Oxford. This design stretch, I realized, could allow the brand to remain ever evolving, vibrant, and relevant without losing its provenance. Finally, the most important product stretch is a core to this brand. EIC has traded in a variety of goods across the world over 3 centuries. Therefore, we effectively had the license to trade into many product categories without losing our lineage. From tea and spices to bone china and silverware, from home furniture and textiles to gold and silver, from jewelry and luggage to spirits and fragrances. The possibilities with a multi-dimension of products, geographies, and design gave us a stretch of a large canvas to build a brand upon. This intangible landmass, the undeveloped land bank, was of enormous value, we soon realized. EIC is a unique brand. It was not built by an individual designer. It is built by a condensation of human spirit of the English-speaking world. Furthermore, it's in a very unique and a desirable position. The East looks at East India Company as the regal West, and the West looks at East India Company as the exotic East. This is a perfect position for any luxury brand to be in today. We realized that the future was bright and was of enormous value. At the beginning of this journey, when I acquired EIC, I also realized that EIC brings its own baggage. It has its roots in a company that once ruled India and colonized our people. This left us with a sense of purpose to take the good forward and leave the bad behind. To evolve this iconic brand into 21st century with a pioneering spirit and passion, dealing in luxury goods in the same way as the early merchants of the company had, was just exhilarating. The irony, the East India Company, which once owned India, is now owned by Indians, has left us with a lot of pride. As I mentioned earlier, it was an emotional decision. And at the outset, the decision to purchase a company was of personal significance for me. I have left India, but India has not left me. 10 years have passed since we launched the business in London, and now the business has matured. As a part of our growth strategy, it is for us now time to enter India. We are looking to enter India with our food and our gold and silver business. We are looking for appropriate partners in India who share our vision and our purpose. Having heard all that, the next question that comes is, how did all of this come about? On 31st of December 1600, on New Year's Eve, Queen Elizabeth I granted a royal charter to a group of honorable merchants of London to trade exclusively on behalf of England in the east of Indies. It meant the east of Cape Town. Little did anyone at that time realize the impact this charter and this decision would have in the global commerce. The company's merchant did not set out to change the world. They just set sail with a very simple objective: to establish trade routes, to discover and bring back new products, and to break down the barriers of the world. They were explorers, they were traders, they were innovators. This was their DNA. The East India Company brand and the business was built by curious merchants who prospered through their adventures. Those merchants did not set out in 1600 with a plan to create an empire or to build a brand, but that is what happened. In the process, they created new communities, established trading places, shaped countries. Singapore and Hong Kong owe their very existence to the East India Company. And India was shaped and influenced by the company. The very fabric of the world would not be what it is today without the East India Company. Without the company, the tables of the world would not have tea or gin and tonic. The reason cricket is a national sport today and why London is the capital of the world, it is the reason that Britain became Great Britain. At one point, the company conducted more than 50% of the world commerce and employed one-third of the British population. It connected the world as no other company has connected the world before. It controlled the waters of the world. Wall Street Journal therefore called the East India Company as the Google of its times. The journeys at sea were long and ships were small. Risks were high to reach the other end of the earth. Therefore, with a merchant's mind and to maximize the return, the East India Company merchants traded in what was value-intensive products and not volume-intensive products. By default, they ended up trading in what we call luxury goods today. the gold and the silver, the jewelry, the diamonds and the color stones, the tea and the spices, the silk and the furniture. Product they chose were essential to their success. At one time, size spices like pepper and nutmeg were more expensive than the gold, and tea was so expensive that it was always kept in silver caddies. But perhaps the most effective cultural tool was the spread of the English language. This was a two-way collaboration, as the language we use today was enriched with influences from various territories. Words like bungalow, jungle, muslin, posh, punch are few that comes to my mind. One of my personal favorite word is origins. One of my personal favorite word origins is comes from currency. The company was only commercial entity given the right to mint its own currency, which it often used to trade from Cape Town to South China. The name of the currency of East India Company was cash, and the word cash came from Sanskrit word kasu. It was first minted in Madras Mint. The word soon replaced the word money in common parlance. Having said that, we really think that our real heritage is the pioneering spirit of the East India merchant. Today, it is an ethos that we have found we need to instill both in the individuals in our company and the company spirit at large. At the East India Company, we call this spirit the remarkable connection. The idea has several dimensions. It connects the world through different countries and diverse cultures. It develops different products in a unique fusion of materials and craft. And connections stretch across the time itself, in our case, through more than 400 years of history. When I started this speech, we started from so what? So what now? What is in offering today? We started our business by recruiting historians. We decided to publish books and express and explain the history of EIC and its impact across various products and services. This research gave us inspiration for each of the product categories that we were to unfold. We launched our fine food business by opening a flagship store in the heart of London in Mayfair. We opened the store on 15th of August, India's Independence Day in 2010, some 10 years back. That followed by launching our gold and silver coin business, precious metal business. We then launched silverware, home accessories, and tableware. Recently, we launched our spirits business by launch of London Gin. And now we are opening our tea parlors. Our business has been growing steadily, mainly from the digital channel. East India Company changed the tastes and habits of the world. Therefore, our products inspired from this history are appropriate for global taste and consumption. The digital channel has allowed us to quickly embrace and globalize our business. Our retail format is becoming more and more experiential, and retailing of products is merging with F&B to offer deeper experiences with our products. Now, my final question is, what's the future? What's next? What future customers and consumers are going to care about? I myself have been recalibrating my lens on the future of the company. With events of last year or so, the need of this has been moved from being incremental to being transformational. Our challenge and opportunity is that there are 4 centuries of complex history of the East India Company and insights to draw upon. The past alone is not going to ensure a share of attention or a share of today's consumer's wallet. Consumerism is shifting very fast. The definition of luxury is also moving very fast. From luxury being a concept of rarity and size, it is now a concept of artisan and satisfaction. From conspicuous consumption, we are moving towards buying goods for personal pleasure. Respect to nature and environment has become integral part of all the brand's needs. There was time when style and comfort did not go together. Now comfort is part of style. Luxury is now about adding life in your years and adding years in your life. Being a brand owner is an ongoing process of innovation, and you need to constantly reinvent your products, your expression, and the experience that you're planning to give to your consumers. I believe by replacing the word brand in our thinking by the word behavior, most answers will unfold itself. Ultimately, a brand is what a brand does. In my view, the East India Company brand needs to evolve from being a luxury brand to being a responsible brand. Therefore, the next stage in EIC's journey is to become more compassionate, both as a brand and as a business. I believe most brands across the world will be thinking similarly. For EIC, this is not a new beginning. We continue to learn both about those who came before us and the trends as we see in the world today. And this guides our action. We'll continue to discover, continue to pioneer, to bring new riches to the world, but in a different kind of way. This is a spirit of passionate pioneers, driven to make remarkable connections, find new partners, and embrace new opportunities. Always keeping our primary purpose in mind is to bring joy and surprise to our customers. It's now about 4:30 in India. It's tea time. I hope you may be enjoying a nice cup of afternoon tea over Zoom. In a way, it's another instance for the past connecting with the present. I wish everyone attending this Economic Times conference much success in building your own brands and businesses in this changing, emerging marketplace. Thank you, and goodbye from London.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta. That has truly been an absolutely phenomenal and inspiring journey. Now, these turbulent times have given birth to brands that have succeeded to capture the fancy and loyalty of millions of customers. Our next speaker will share some tips and tricks to engage consumers in this data-driven world. I would also like to hear that. One of India's finest orators and storytellers, Roshan Abbas is an actor, TV and radio host, producer, event manager, creative director, film and theatre director, lyricist, CEO, angel investor, serial entrepreneur, author, public speaking coach. Oh gosh, is there anything this man cannot do? I think not. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Roshan Abbas. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Pavleen. That was really nice. And I always feel really bad about my introductions because they're way too long and way too diverse, and I've done way too many things. But that is why I actually talk about storytelling so much. And I could just be a piece of data. I could be a man who's had over 13 professions. I could be the number of radio hours I have done. I could be the number of companies I have started or the awards one has won. But that doesn't invoke feelings. And I just got off a video presentation that I was watching where somebody said that millennials are 40% currently in digital, environments. They are less empathetic simply because they are having so many things that they do digitally and not physically. Now, of course, this is a debate by itself, but the thought in my head was, yes, the number of times we are having digital interactions on screens, or watching a piece of content and giving a single-sided reaction. We laugh, we cry, we swipe, we click, we tap, we forward, we share. But are we having an exchange of emotions? Are you actually feeling something and then responding? Because that's what human beings do more often than not. And I think in this last year and a half, that chief transformation officer that none of us ever asked for, called the pandemic, actually came into our lives and said, you'll have to look at everything very differently. And the one thing that I kept thinking of myself was this story that I very often share about the day that I bought dead leaves. If you can see what I'm showing on your screen, these are dead leaves, but they've got small little things attached to them. When I was walking past, in Brick Lane in London, at this very, very crowded market where everybody was trying to sell you their wares, on one wall, there were these leaves stuck. And they caught my attention here because seeing leaves stuck on a wall was something strange by itself. And what I ended up doing was stopping there, and this lady who's on the right, you can see with this enigmatic smile, she handed me a paper boat. And I looked at the paper boat and she said, open it. And when I opened that paper boat, inside was her CV, and it talked about all the things that she had done. But on the wall was stuck this little about me, which says, I was born in a republic small town. Her English really wasn't very good. My parents came from small towns with influence by other cultures. My education was had with a mix of cultures, Creole, European, indigenous. I married someone from another country and had 5 children in different parts of the country. I do not know if I'm an artist or an artisan. I feel I'm just expressing my feelings and the feelings of everyone else. I try every day to be happy with myself and with others. I enjoy the mystery of life and its movements. And, looking at her CV, reading this, I turned and said, so what's that on the wall? And she said, these are dead leaves. They're very much like me because I don't know where I belong. And frankly, if I didn't give myself some expression, I'd just be dead. So I made these into parachutes for small wooden people. And she was selling these for 10 pounds, 5 pounds a piece, 10 pounds for 2. I bought 2 of them and I carried them with me because the first thing that they reminded me of was that we need to make human connections, and human connections are made by unique stories. And storytelling is important for that reason. Look around you. The amount of data, the amount of choices have created consumer fatigue. There was a time when you had limited to 2 choices. Today, you're limited to 20 choices. If you're on Amazon, you have 30 more recommendations below. And before buying, while everybody might tell you that, oh, it's data, oh, it's programmatic, oh, it's something which is coming up on your screen, in this world of high utility, there is a need for high connect. There is a need for building that unique connect. And that is why brands have to even more concentrate on storytelling in times like this. Also, we are becoming extremely polarized. Look at how polarized we get even with the color or shape of a brand. There are conversations happening everywhere. It is even here that storytelling that conveys the values of the brand is going to be connecting with people across so that shared values can be transmitted. People are forming their own tribes, their own communities, and this need of a strong storyline by which you can pass on the values of a brand to the consumers and just connect at that level. Because you'll always find something that will clean better, wipe better, do something better. But today it's going to be, and I know you've heard this phrase very often, but so much more about purpose. And purpose is conveyed more often than not through the stories of what you achieve. Mass consumerism has made objects very easy to acquire. But where's the chase? Where's the thrill? Stories create that. Let me tell you, I'm currently trying to buy myself an amplifier because I moved into a new house and I love music. And currently, my entire connect is not about price. It's not just about availability, but it is right now about somebody who can find a discerning audio lover like me, somebody who resonates with somebody who wants to hear the warmth of the music of the 80s. And that is why I might end up going for an amplifier which has got physical valves in this highly digital age, but because it conveys that quality of sound. Look at the success of some brands that possibly you may not even have seen before, but they're making a comeback because they are riding on nostalgia. They're riding on the thrill of the chase. I'm forgetting which brand, but one brand has decided not to go digital and only sell in physical stores because they believe that that is the level of connect that they have. But at times like this, I keep telling people this: don't sell, tell a story. So if I could convey to anybody one thing, I would say, get into story selling. That's what is more critical. Know your stories and sell them. This is one of my favorite slides, and Daniel Pink actually said this in A Whole New Mind. The queen died and the king died. That's a fact. That's like a piece of data. The story is the queen died and the king died of a broken heart. The king died of a broken heart. Once again, feelings, emotions, empathy. And I know you will hear this all the time. And I know that this will always be that big debate that happens between creativity at one side and maybe, just data on the other end. But I do believe that insightful data can be mined because stories are nothing but data wrapped with context, delivered with meaning. Again, just a piece of data. X amount of people play video games, right? But if in that game you inserted 4 animals that are about to die in the Amazon, and this is a VML YNR campaign that just won at Cannes. If you can get 4 gamers to put on avatars that look like endangered animals, and right at the end, just tie everything in with one simple line, while they are playing with nature's future, talking of industrialists, we are playing to save it. Just a line that built a connect and made that data so much more contextual and gave it a new piece of meaning. And the world is absolutely ripe for multi-sensory storytelling. And I think brands now really need a chief storytelling officer if they ever needed one, simply because this person not only needs to understand the values of a brand, but they even need to understand where is the valuable audience today, because that valuable audience is also moving all the time. Today, in the last 1 year, you've heard of at least 10 new innovations, from Clubhouse to now Twitter Spaces, because now there's this whole thing about audio, and I heard today about Facebook Reels. You can keep finding new places. For every TikTok that moved out, there was a Chingari and a Moj and a Takatak, etc. I have also been told by certain friends of mine in the music industry that there are at least 20 other platforms in India which have over 10 million consumers on each of them that brands don't even go to. But you need to start looking at these new places, and these are the places which will make a difference in the days to come, where you find new people to listen to your stories. Multi-sensory stories that I keep talking about are stories that you can tell in various places. How many of you are telling your stories on audio? Now, you may think, oh, podcasting is too early in India, but I'm telling you, we're at the cusp of something really, really big. In the US, GE Healthcare did something absolutely phenomenal. And if you've heard either of these 2 podcasts, firstly, they're just phenomenal pieces of craft. But beyond that, they're just great stories that are somewhere trying to get you cued into the impact that various technologies that GE uses in healthcare are having in your life and in your future. Absolutely amazing, these 2 are. Visual storytelling, I think in the world of Instagram, in the world of TikTok, you can often see very often that, there is this whole visual storytelling that is happening. And there are brands that are using this beautifully. I heard of a girl who actually got herself recruited by McKinsey or Accenture, if I'm not mistaken, by creating a visual resume on Instagram. You needed to go to her page and look at it, and there was this visual resume she had created. So creators are using these platforms in 100 different ways, just like you could be doing, to take this thing forward. GoPro has built itself into a content brand. Red Bull has built itself into a content brand. They're constantly telling stories. GoPro is telling you stories of some extreme challenges. Red Bull is telling you ways in which you could be energized and go into a higher plane by doing some of these really crazy, mad, fun things. It's just become content that a brand has created for itself and consumers reach out to rather than get paid to see, which is what is so often a recommended strategy to us. If the story is great, people will go and see it or hear it or seek it out themselves. Even taste, I mean, taste, of course, is unique, and there are so many things during the entire lockdown. What happened? Why did this suddenly thing about banana bread and dalgona coffee, etc.? Why did all of these things take off? Because we had more time. We wanted to indulge our senses a lot more. We wanted to feel a lot more in control of our lives by creating a life that seemed to be thrown completely out of gear. We wanted to seek meaning in some format. Are you queuing into these trends? Are you queuing into these things that are happening across? Touch. I got myself a new iMac recently, and I must tell you, I have kept the box because just opening the box was a delight. Are you concentrating on telling stories through touch? So many brands. I mean, if you go across and you look at IKEA and many other brands, they just manage to do this stuff through just touch. Joe Malone is doing this in terms of smell. They've got people who are taking you around the city. I also know that there was a great campaign, I forget the brand itself, but a great campaign where a brand actually reached out and used the air wrap. Nowadays you get bubble wrap. They injected their scent I think it was Glade, if I'm not mistaken. They injected the scent into the air wrap around your packages in Amazon. So every time you opened a package, you would break the air wrap, which many of us do, and you would smell this absolutely incredible smell of, the perfume. So where are you telling your stories? Which format are you telling them? Are you telling transmedia stories? Are you telling them across mediums? Is something that I keep saying. If there was a cheat sheet for brands, I was listening to this presentation about Carva and how it became such a big brand, from Saregama. And in that, there was this simple insight which said, go and listen to your consumer. Yes, data is great. Yes, brand sentiment is fabulous. But I think true gold lies in going and doing that consumer interaction. Kunal Jaswani, my friend, from Ogilvy the other day, said the same thing about feeling, about human connections. And it is this thing that I keep saying is so important in our lives, that you must be able to go out and listen to your consumers. That's the best piece of research that you could possibly ask. Meet new storytellers, find new storytellers. Believe you me, youngsters, the way they're able to tell stories in 90 seconds, 30 seconds, 10 seconds, it would take us maybe a year to understand all the effects, etc., that they're able to use. But there's such wonderful new creators that you can find online. Seek them out. Immerse yourself not just in pop culture, which is very easy for an agency to bring to you, but also in subculture, which is what is emerging. Go where your audience is going. Measure what works. Yes, data is important. Measure what's working. Sail 100 ships out into this digital universe. See the 10 that are working and put more money behind them. That's one way of seeing which stories resonate. Great Vidushaks, great Sutradhars, great court jesters didn't have one story. They had 100 stories to tell, and they would start telling them. If you look at the great epics, there are hundreds of stories woven around one central theme, which keep bringing you back to the theme. That's what you need. I do believe that brands need that chief storyteller who brings in that understanding of data and understands data at the same time. Adapt your content to appeal to every platform that your audience visits in a given day. Consumers are spending time on over 40 different platforms a day. And yes, just go out and see them. It's no longer just switching channels. They're switching mediums. They're switching from audio to video to short form to long form to a screen that's vertical, to a screen that's horizontal, to a screen that's tilted. All of these trends are happening, and I'm not even getting into AR and VR or whatever, etc., which I know are still in development. Be part of every experience that your consumer indulges in, because that's the way to really go out and know what are the stories that are resonating with them. And in case you need help with that, build a world of stories, which is what we have done at Commune. For the last 4 years, we've taken over 10,000 creators and told their stories. And while listening to their stories, we managed to do our own research, our own understanding of what works with consumers, what is it that they're looking for today. I'd like to actually leave you with a film which is not about data, but about feelings. And it's the film from the festival that we run, which has, I call it the festival where influencers come to get influenced. It's called Spoken Fest. And I think I have spoken enough. Let the film do the rest of the talking. Happy story selling to all of you. Enjoy your data. Enjoy it as much as you can. But data gets context and meaning through stories. So keep living out those stories as well. Thank you.
भीड़ में फिर हो खड़े गुमशुदा मौजूद हो यहाँ या गुम कहीं किसको पता जब लगे हर घड़ी के अब इस रात की ना है सुबह कोई करे यकीन देख तू के आफताब वो हंसी है छुपा यहीं कहीं
A spot where thoughts find words and words find voices. A spot where poems become revolutions.
हम ही पे हमला करके हम ही को हमलावर बताना सब याद रखें.
सब ताज उछाले जाएंगे.
Where the sparks become fires.
The young who had nothing to lose and everything to lose at the same time stood to face the oppressor.
The bards spin their tales. The spoken cast the spell.
An artist from Mexico City convinced his government to donate the guns to him, and he turned them into musical instruments.
If your heart is broken, make art with the pieces.
Poetry touches the heart and changes the mind.
Where the young become the future, right in front of you.
आता तू न्यूज चॅनल वर आलीस ना, आता तू फेमस होणार.
And chuckles become laughter, with no worries in view. Yes, it's a festival after all.
Thank you for conducting Empathy Boot Camp every year.
Sway, giggle, cry, roar and even scream if need be, but without fear, without doubt.
Stop telling people things like it is not you who is depressed, it is reality which is broken. The next time you're sick, I'll come to your house, throw your medicines out of the window and say it is not you who has malaria. It is mosquitoes who are assholes.
मैंने रियलाइज किया कि ब्रेकअप से लेके आज तक मैं अच्छे से रोया नहीं था, तो मैंने अपने आप को रोका नहीं और 1-2 घंटा रोने दिया. जब रोना खत्म हुआ तो हाथ अपने आप फोन की तरफ गया और टिंडर खुल गया. मोहब्बत जिंदाबाद.
We are the words. We are here. We are with you.
मोहब्बत जिंदाबाद.
Thank you so much, Roshan, for that incredible insight into the world of words. Thank you. Now, what is that one thing that makes or breaks your campaign? The hashtag creative quotient. An ad campaign achieves numbers when it is creatively inclined and touch upon the hearts of the consumers. However, in today's time, the buzzword is hashtag data. Brands are going to an extra mile to access consumer data. So the next one is a candid chat. Let's understand the marriage of creativity with data. Our first speaker for this chat is honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award by the Advertising Agencies Association of India in 2010, the Clio Lifetime Achievement Award in 2012, the Padma Shri Indian National Civilian Award in 2016. I think this person needs no other introduction. Please welcome Mr. Piyush Pandey, who will be the first speaker in this chat. The next speaker, with over 2 decades of experience in sales, marketing, e-commerce, and managing P&L, especially known for her digital business acumen and running operations for digital sales. Please welcome Deepali Nair. Over to you.
Hi, everybody. For all those who have been thinking that Piyush Pandey is scared of technology, now let me tell you one thing. I'm speaking to a master of technology, Deepali from IBM, and I'm using a technical device to speak to you. So don't treat me as a novice. I know technology. Over to Deepali.
Piyush, I know that you're not a novice at technology. Neither are you a novice at marketing or advertising. You're the expert. I think what is interesting is how people are changing, and that includes you, to use technology to the best advantage that we have in our personal lives, as well as the advantage that offers to us as marketers. I think that is the change that has happened. And I may look young, but I use hair color, so I can tell you that I have also spent my younger years looking at artworks, which did not get produced by laptops and computers. And yes, this is a fascinating new world, and I'm glad that my generation is living through this, where technology has actually made it possible for advertising marketers, to have a seat on the table, as I call it. So I think it's exciting times that we are living in.
There is no doubt, Deepali. See, technology sometimes can be misunderstood. What was television? Television gave people like me and my colleagues a way of getting into people's homes with creative ideas that you had no way of getting through to them unless they had to go out and go to a movie theater.
Yes.
Same was with radio. So these were all technology, and technology keeps changing. And every introduction of new technology for reaching people like me and others in my industry is an opportunity.
Yeah.
Technology should never scare you. Technology is a new way of reaching people where you can express your creativity.
Yes.
Technology doesn't stop you.
Yeah.
Today, people talk about data, big data's father data, and his grandfather data. But end of the day, data is the new technology of research.
Yeah.
And if you're able to read data well, you're on better wicket with technology to be able to fine-tune and bring your ideas to people wherever they are. Till television, they were at home all the time. Now also they're at home. They're also a little more in their rooms. They also have a way of reaching out and seeing things when they're not at home. It's a fantastic thing to happen to people like me and many more younger people in the industry.
But you're right, and what I wonder also about is that in a marketer's arsenal, a lot more has come to play. like you rightly said, in the good old days, you did a print campaign, you did a TV campaign, and at max you did radio and outdoor, and that was out. You only had that many elements to look after, that many assets to look after, as they say. Today, with the world that we're living in, where the mobile devices, your television and radio and OTT and print and everything, I think the marketers and where you are in advertising, life has changed considerably in terms of how we send our messaging out. Not to take away from the fact, I'm a big believer myself of the power of storytelling, the power of narrative, and all things being equal, a better narrative and a better storytelling will always endear us to the hearts of our customer and consumer. I think it's a mix of what data and technology enables us to do and how we use the storytelling to get there. But my life has also become complex, Piyush, and I want to talk about it. As a CMO, my life is very complex today.
Mine is not. I actually see it as an opportunity. It is a great opportunity. And the advice that, not advice, but a suggestion that I can make to marketers and people in the advertising community is that it's a very simple thing. Get on with it. How did you do when you were so much in love with making a film? How did you do a fantastic outdoor? How did you do in-shop entertainment that went viral? So it actually gives you an opportunity. And to marketers, I have a special suggestion, which is don't get obsessed with data. Make use of data. I always believe read in between the lines in data. That will give you the ability to take a creative leap. Don't be scared of data. I was never scared of research in my life, but I did not read it literally. I read between the lines. So it's a great opportunity. It's a fantastic opportunity. Take it with open arms and take another leap. If you could play a test match, learn how to play a T20 also.
Start again. So that's beautifully said, Piyush. And I believe in a different metaphor, which is that it's like being on a trampoline. Do a small jump, see that it works for you and that you don't fall, and then take a leap, huge one. I think data and technology allows you, to do that. I think the other thing, the complexity bit that I'm talking about it is that, in the good old days when I had a partner such as you, you arrived at one big idea and you saw yourself through for the next 18 months. Today, the pressure on coming up with, let's say, many big ideas, is the one that the marketers have to deal with in terms of complexity. Let me explain why. We used to do the researches then. A UNA study got done. You did 5 segments of housewives. You said, this is the segment for which I have an insight. And then you came up with a big idea. And you only did one. Today, it is possible for me to have 80 different segments and actually do 80 different kind of creatives. I'm told that Netflix, for a single new OTT series that they're coming out with, will show you different creators, Piyush, will show me different creators, and my son who's 16, completely different kind of creatives to attract them in. And technology has made that possible, which is beautiful, because technically a creative person, is sitting in this wonderful place where saying that, listen, I don't have to constrain myself with doing just one big idea. I can do actually many. The orchestration of this and the people who have to orchestrate, my campaign managers, my data analytics team, the media team that we have and the agency has, I think that orchestration makes our lives complex compared to earlier on.
Not really. You have to be very clear that you will speak to different segments. You will go through different platforms. 80% of the game will always be what is the core of your brand. Never lose that. Never ever lose that. And then see, to this person, my core idea I'll express this way. To that person, I'll express that way. But I'll never lose sight of what does my brand stand for. If you think of it that way, then it's a great opportunity.
Yes,
then what is there to orchestrate? You have to get like-minded people who say, okay, I'm an expert at this. I will not lose track of where I come from.
Yeah.
It's easy. We can look at it as a very complicated exercise, or we can tell everyone that this is my brand X. This is the core idea. It can have many expressions. Don't lose sight of it. As simple as that.
It is simple, and yet I will still argue and say the orchestration just requires many more people, many more teams to work together, many more different skill sets of being able to manage a search engine optimization, the choice that you're making in media today of an OTT versus a podcast versus a television versus, many other myriad things that come in versus, the A/B testing, all these, make the launch, let's say, of a new campaign or a new brand or a new product, if I were to compare it with my yesteryears, many more variables to deal with. We get used to it and it sounds simple, but if you were to transport somebody from the early 90s to today, I think the variables that they're dealing with are many more. What I love about today, definitely love it more than earlier on, is that marketing is actually able to prove the ROI with this whole data connection that we have. In the good old days, we didn't know how exactly it worked. We left it at some brand scores, the brand awareness and the brand esteem, those scores. But today I'm actually able to prove that, where did my creative work? And this is a sale that happened. You can actually see it through. So I think I like this life better. But is it more complex? I would say yes.
I think it's also deceptive. This concept of ROI is not on monthly sales.
Okay.
The concept of ROI is how long are there for you to stay? How long are you going to play? ROIs, if they were calculated by monthly sales only, then you would not have big brands.
True.
Ever.
True.
So understanding of ROI is so important. Just because in one market called Ajmer, you didn't succeed well. Look at what exactly must have gone wrong. Just because you're seeing an ROI, don't lose sight of where are you going. There might be other issues. There might be other problems. Don't ever make the mistake of looking at the data as God's gift to mankind.
True.
Mankind is different. People are different. Problems may be different. So it doesn't worry me.
It doesn't worry you at all. And I think that's a good space to be in. I just feel that I think all the creativity and the simpler thoughts that you're talking about, which is let's look at the bigger picture, let's understand, where the brand is working for, different segments of consumers. I just think they're powered, when they reach the consumer with the help of technology and lots of new things are coming our way too because of technology. And I know that Economic Times team wanted us to talk about COVID and the impact that COVID has had. I think the acceleration that I have seen in consumer behavior, the speed with which people have pivoted and changed their style of buying, their style of utilizing entertainment, the way they're consuming education and entertainment at home. I've never seen this kind of change ever before in my life. The pivot with which marketing and advertising folks followed this change, I must say so, is also something that I'm truly spellbound with. As a marketer, I understand what they've had to do. And as a consumer, I'm just pleasantly surprised by all the brands that surround me. What do you think of that?
I think, see, when you have a big problem like this, you have no option but to think of ways of achieving what you want to achieve. From a consumer's point of view, it's the ways of getting things that you can't go out and get. From a marketer's point of view, it's the ways of communicating at home and delivering at home. So, see, in every adversity lies an opportunity. So it happened because you had no option. Let things open. Then you'll get a better picture. But what is it that they really missed? What is it that they can do without? It will appear more. It won't be the same COVID situation. It won't be the same Anki Dori situation. It will be a beautiful balance between them. How many people are itching to go out and see a big time cricket match or to go and see theatre? How many people are itching to be with their friends at their homes after a long time? That number of occasions may reduce. But what is inherent in a human being is a social animal. That's not going to change. It's going to come back and come back with a learning that I know if deprived, I have ways of looking after myself.
Yes.
And marketer will come out to say, if deprived and constrained, I have ways of reaching out to the consumer. We will be both test match players and a T20 player combined into one. That's what I think.
Yeah, but while brands exist and have existed, there are categories, have either seen and done very well or not. For example, let's just take an example. Ladies' handbags aren't doing too well. Mobile phones and laptops, the sales have shot through the roof. Fortunes of, lots of organizations, especially medium-sized enterprises, have completely gone topsy-turvy in terms of either their sales shooting through the roof or that nothing that they do and say can actually bring the sale home to them. That kind of change, though, Piyush, I've never seen before.
That is true. If I'm staying in this house, I don't need a pair of dark glasses. But when I step out, I will need my dark glasses. You can't say, now I will go around everywhere with a tab and talk to people from there. No, it's not going to happen. When people step out, the lipsticks will sell.
Yeah.
When people step out, restaurants will blossom.
Yeah.
But people have understood when at home, I don't need to feel as if I am dead and over.
That's true. That's why the eyeliners are selling.
It's the evolution. But this huge crisis that the world has gone through is not going to change some things which are necessary for people for their emotional content.
Yeah.
I mean, look at places where it's opened up and how people are enjoying that. All the suppressed feeling is expressing itself. So, yes, it will make us a little more competent human being to handle adversity.
True.
But will it take away the human being from within you? No, it's not going to happen.
No, that's not going to happen at all. In fact, I see a lot more, brands which have operated with purpose, brands whose leaders have been available to talk to and have, been vulnerable and authentic. In the long term are going to do well. So, your test match comparison actually applies, but what has also become very important is that the data tells us that a lot more, people are losing jobs, that a lot more people are going to come, one level down in terms of economic prosperity. And that data is telling us. But the story and the narrative and the creativity of human spirit, I completely bow down to that, Piyush.
And look at it, Nepali. How many parents around the country are waiting for their children to go to school only, not only because of physical education, but interaction with other kids. Otherwise, you will not be a complete human being. So those are very human things. Human things will happen, but when you step out, of course, you'll wear a cap to protect you from the sun. Of course, you'll take out your dark glasses. Of course, people will not go out in shorts all the time, the way I'm sitting here on a Zoom right now. So, yes, there will be a balance, but it's been a hard but a good teacher.
Things remain the same and things change. I started a podcast last year. I've interviewed 30 CEOs and, we've spoken about transformation and learning and vulnerabilities. And when I started that whole exercise, so my mom, of course, she's 74. She doesn't understand what a podcast is. So when I had to explain it to her, I actually had to tell her, I said, Mama, it's like being a radio jockey on a radio. So things do remain the same, but I feel blessed that the pandemic happened in an age where we had video technology, where we had digital wallets, where we had mobile phones, and webcams and OTTs. So I sometimes say, thank God it didn't happen 15 years ago.
Never be scared of that. There was not much of this when Mahatma Gandhi impacted the entire country.
Why do you say that?
He didn't have all these podcasts and all. He traveled by trains,
yes,
and he made a country independent.
Yes.
So human being finds a way. Today it's become easier, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
But never underestimate the power of a human being.
That's true. And I think
if we could do it in 1920 and 30 and 40,
yeah,
without all this,
yeah,
then human being finds a way. When there's a will, there's a way.
Yes.
Now that it's beautiful, it's lovely, but the human being will not die. that I can promise you. He'll become more learned,
yes,
and more competent and more able, but he'll still be a human being.
And I think, on this whole, the last bit that I want to comment, Piyush, is that technology makes the purpose of a brand available and illustratable to more people. And I think that's the beauty of technology. It can be the driver, the data can be the guide, and the brand story then can reach many more people in a more focused fashion.
Absolutely. Again, let's not take ourselves seriously. When traffic signals came, it was technology.
Yes.
So it made more people not drive into each other, not more people not drive over each other.
Yes.
Every technology, whether it was the electricity, whether it was train, I think we should look at technology in the same spirit. We are not God's gift to mankind because we got these things. When somebody got a phone for the first time and could call up his family from Ladakh to Madras, it was same. Now it is reaching data heights. So technology and human interaction has always been there.
Yeah.
Now it's available in a much more sophisticated fashion. It is a blessing, but it won't change the human being.
I know. So with that, I'm going to bring this to the end, Piyush. You started today. So we heard the ad man, we heard the man, Piyush Pandey, talk about, creativity and technology go hand in hand. And I totally agree.
Like that.
Yes, like that. Okay.
Take care, Dipali. Thank you so much. Lovely talking to you.
Thank you, Piyush. I'm looking forward to, meeting with you in person soon enough.
Done.
Wow, those were some incredible insights into the role of creativity in a world obsessed with data. Thank you so much, Mr. Piyush Pandey, Chief Creative Officer Worldwide and Executive Chairman India, Ogilvy, and Ms. Dipali Nair, Chief Marketing Officer, IBM India and South Asia. That was a perfect blend of traditional and the digital era. And I'm sure I have gotten some tips how to handle my social media from that. So thank you. Moving on. These tumultuous times have given birth to brands that have succeeded to capture the fancy and loyalty of millions of customers. Our next speaker brings with us an illustrious career spanning of 35 years. A seasoned, distinguished, and vastly experienced banker. He who combines his passion for work with elegance, dynamism, and positive energy, which is inspirational and highly motivating for his team and for us. Please put your hands together for Shri Vikram Aditya Singh Khichi, Executive Director, Bank of Baroda. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, and a very, very good evening to everyone. I hope you have been staying safe with all your near and dear ones. At the outset, let me thank ET for recognizing Bank of Baroda as the iconic brand 2021, and I am pleased to be here in this virtual summit this evening. I've been asked to showcase our journey in brand building for the last few months or maybe a couple of years during this tumultuous time. And I do have to share my recipe also for that variant secret sauce that we think. So good. I'll start off with brand building. Basically, is something which has been evolving over a period of time. It's not a short exercise. It is something which is to be put on drawing board. It has to evolve. It has to be innovative. And just to explain what I'm trying to say, I'll take a step back, maybe a couple of years back, and tell you and explain how we have taken this journey in the last 2-3 years. I recall around 3 years back, Bank of Baroda, we were actually trying to project ourselves as a very progressive, emerging institution amongst the banking industry. We were into a transformational phase. We were investing heavily in technology. We were hiring talent laterally, and we are trying to build up a brand in such a way which we could project ourselves as one of those emerging institutions within the banking scenario. And then in late 2018, Government of India announced the first industry three-way amalgamation, that is the erstwhile Vijaya, erstwhile Dena Bank amalgamated with Bank of Baroda. And that was a watershed moment in the industry of banking in India, because never before it had happened that there was a three-way amalgamation. And with this announcement, there was a lot of curiosity. There was a lot of anxiety against the brand, and it was all stakeholders you can talk were actually very, very anxious to know how this would be progressing. When I talk about stakeholders, it would be the promoter government who has decided to amalgamate the three banks. It would be the regulator who has given the approval for amalgamation. It would be the customers who would be very curious and very anxious that if there is any disruption, it will create a lot of inconvenience to them. As a stakeholder, the employees were at the seats end. They also knew that if the HR integration is not done properly, then it may be a chaos. The shareholders were equally worried, because if this amalgamation doesn't take place properly, then the value enterprise can be eroded. And maybe another stakeholder would be the competitors, the industry players in the banking arena. They're all watching very curiously how this amalgamation will be taken forward. And that was the time when we realized that we will have to go to the drawing board, revisit our strategies, redesign our campaigns, maybe at multiple levels of communications. And brand building would basically ultimately be how you are able to communicate with all your stakeholders. And that was the time when we actually thought that we'll have to put our hats together. And incidentally, we I mean, had to project ourselves as something which was a very smooth amalgamation with no hiccups, with least disruption and all. And we communicated with the customers, we communicated internally, we had town hall meetings all across India. We had regular interactions with the regulators, with the government ministry, so that we were able to tell them that this amalgamation was right in the process. And this actually, over a period of maybe 3 months, 6 months, with the regular interactions and things, I think we were able to evolve this as a brand, and we were able to settle down the anxiety. Ruffle feathers were basically stabilized, and we were able to embark on the journey with much more ease. And we had to communicate that, so we had to run a few campaigns, communications, and we said, "Ab saath hai teen, behtar se behtering." That was the best of the three that have come together. And when coming together, the best of the three, cherry picking, we have done both in terms of HR integration, IT integration, and everything. And we have evolved as a brand much mightier, much better, much more efficient, much more elegant. And we are able to create that sort of a brand, which actually went on to encourage the government to announce another 5 mergers in the last year. So that was something which actually required too much of a thinking and revisiting our strategies as we went along, running those campaigns and all. And this we were successfully able to do that. And I think in that terms, if all our stakeholders are very much happy with this. And then as we were just nearing our amalgamation, we had the tumultuous times when pandemic struck in April 2019 and April 2020, sorry. And that was the time when again we had to actually reach out to the stakeholders again, but in a different way. Again, we had to revisit the strategies, reorganize our objectives, and we had to actually look at another few ways. We had to change our mediums. We realized that out of home media and print media, and these will not work in those times. And there was a complete lockdown, and the economy was taking a nosedive. When we talk about economy, it could be on any parameters, whether it was the manufacturing PMI, whether it was the service PMI, whether the exports or the imports, or maybe the Google Mobility Index or the GST revenue. You talk about any parameter, the e-bill generation, we all looked at with the total clamp, the economy was nosediving. And that was the time when we had to actually reorganize our campaign modes in a different way. And that was a time when Government of India announced a few myriad packages. RBI, Reserve Bank of India, announced a few forbearances, which were in a little technical terms, were not very verbatim understood by our stakeholders, by our customers. And so we had to take it upon ourselves to outreach all our customers, all our stakeholders again. And how to do it? We organized a mega webinar for the MSME customers. Today, talking about a webinar, it's something which we conceive. But talking about a mega webinar in April 20, it was something which had not happened before. And we took the help of the YouTube platform. We connected almost 1 lakh MSMEs across the geographical locations, from east to west, from north to south, and also against the spectrum of the amount. Anybody enjoying a limit of 5 lakhs to 50 crores were on that platform. So that was sort of a reach where we explained the government packages, the RBI forbearances, and what the bank is able to is their stress. And this went a very big way in soothing. There were lots of communication from the other side, also questions and thank yous and all. So we were able to connect very well. Then we had a campaign which was called Jode Kisan, where we went to the hinterlands, the agriculture. We had a very good engagement program where it was beyond business. It was not business. It was beyond soil testing clinics. We organized veterinary camps. We organized financial literacy camps. We felicitate farmers who did well. It was an endeavor taken upon ourselves that we'll reach each and every customer in the rural area. And this was taken again by a very, very good sense. And this engagement, in fact, went ahead to become the largest farmer engagement program in terms of Limca Book of Records. So this was something which we had envisaged and we sought, put on the drawing board, and we implemented, and it went on to become such a huge success. Another one campaign for communicating with the customers was one Durvash campaign. We all knew that nobody was able to move out in those complete lockdown times. Nobody was able to visit the branches, but the phones did work. And that is what we embarked on a campaign which was called Durvash campaign, where every branch was asked to contact all its customers on telephone beyond business again. It was something like that. The campaign tagline was Hal Chal Theek Thak. So this was something where we used to phone our customers, ask for their well-being, show our concern, ask if any help or any guidance is required. And that is how we basically think it was again a very phenomenal success. We were taken as a bank which had some concern for its customers. It was something which was social consciousness was at the core of it. It was very, we built our brand as a customer-centric bank and not only purely a business or a profit entity. And with after this, the second wave hit, and we did run a few campaigns like Hum Kare Mumkin, which was aimed at our retail customers, and Ek Forever Rishta. Again, these campaigns were for our MSME and digital retail customers. So all these campaigns, and when this pandemic was at its peak, we had a India Together sort of a concept song, which went on to become a very big hit in terms of social media liking. And this was given to all the broadcasted to all our customers. Then in the second wave, as it hit, we had another one, Fir Jeetenge Karke. There was a song which connected, inspired, and gave hope and positivity. It spread hope and positivity. Again, it was a very good campaign that we ran. And so what I was trying to say is, every time the situation changed, our objectives changed, our communication strategy changes, and we have to change with that. We have to evolve, we have to be innovative, we have to see what best we can utilize. And that is what we tried to do in the last 2 years. Now that the second wave is almost tapering off, and we are again embarking on an ambitious program in terms of 4 pillars. One would be the digital piece, where we are looking at digital lending platforms, delivery of loan products on a digital STP mode. We are looking at retail liability products on the digital STP mode. And this digital ambition is being embarked very ambitiously now. The second would be the piece of wealth management that we are trying to put together, increase our footprints in the rural hinterland by increasing our BC network in a much more efficient way. We're trying to build again a plan, and our foundation day is coming on the 20th of July. A slew of initiatives would then be announced. So it's basically every point of time is a very dynamic and a very evolving concept of brand building. And we have been able to change according to the times, according to the objectives. We have been able to shift and fine tune our requirements, and we have been able. So that is basically the secret recipe of our variant sauce. So I'll pause here, take a break. I think my time is. So thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Singh, for those wonderful insights. Now, I have a question here. Are you exploring the island we have created for all of you here? Please do explore it. And there's so much to do. We have a photo booth where you can click a really neat selfie and put it up on Twitter or on LinkedIn with the hashtag ET Iconic Awards. Or we also have a game area that covers all of your brands. So go ahead and explore. Now, my other question is, what do you think? How consumer brands and companies are using content and community to build their brand, drive reach and visibility? I have the perfect person to answer this question, our next speaker. Her forte and domain interest lies in marketing, social media, brand building, and sales. She started Little Black Book as a platform for young urban audiences to access the best local discoveries across categories. She has been featured in the Forbes India 30 Under 30 list and Forbes Asia 30 Under 30 list. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together in welcoming Suchita Salwan, founder and CEO, Little Black Book. Over to you, Suchita.
Awesome. So great to be here, guys. Thank you so much for having me as a part of today. I only have 10 minutes, so I'm going to cut straight to the chase. Today, my presentation is essentially about why I believe that ecosystems are greater than products and how today's brands, marketplaces, and platforms can really leverage content, community, creators to drive long-term value for themselves. If you're looking for a quick takeaway or a 30-second takeaway, really the goal of today is to challenge the way you think and challenge your construct around how brands are built. The TLDR, however, would be good brands make products, great brands build ecosystems. Who am I and why am I here? My name is Suchita. I'm the co-founder and CEO of LBB. What is LBB? We're a discovery commerce marketplace for millennial consumers to discover and shop new and unique products and brands from across India. We have over 22 million millennial users who use both our webinar app to discover all that's new, exciting. And we have over 2.5 million followers across our social media. We engage with over 10,000 active brands on LBB, with about 3,000 brands that actively sell on LBB. But now jumping right in, right? Ecom 1.0 and brand building 1.0, if you have to summarize it in a nutshell, it really was about product plus distribution, right? And what do I mean by that? If you sold a cheap product, if it was a product or a category that was known to customers and largely products that were pull products, and if you could, deliver to customers as fast as possible, boom, that was a magic formula that platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, etc., were built themselves up on, right? But really, if you think of who the greatest benefactors of Ecom 1.0 1.0 were they're largely large brands that sell commoditized products, where this formula of fast plus cheap plus value, put it into a little brown box, deliver it to customers, households, that formula works. But really what we're seeing happen now, right, especially with so many new layers of being built within the ecosystem of brand creation come up, is what we loosely call Ecom 2.0, which in a nutshell essentially is category plus ecosystem, not necessarily only product plus distribution. The things that are leading to these changes, right, within this Ecom 1.0 and Ecom 2.0 is four predominant factors. First is changing customer trends. Millennials and Gen Z customers are vastly different from their predecessors. Categories creating growth opportunities online are fairly different and are iterating and improving as more and more customers come online and wallet shares expand online. More channels for customer acquisition and brand building have been built. And of course, growth of micro and disruptor brands, which was summed up in Economic Times and LBB's most fantastic list of the top 30 disruptive brands of 2021. So let's double tap on the first one, right? There was a time when your purchases were for convenience, right? Your purchases were tapping more so into your buying-led behavior than your shopping-led behavior. But when you see what's happening today, millennials want to find joy. They want to signal their status through their purchases. This recent phenomena is basically led by four macro trends. The first one being growth of micro brands, which I'll get into in just a bit. The second is growth in customer wallet share in online purchases. So, like I said earlier, you'd basically pick up categories that were known to you, that could be packed within a box, delivered to your home. But now customers, more and more of customers' desires are coming online, and now customers are being able to shop them online. Diversification of influencers. Growing up, all I watched was Shah Rukh Khan and Kajol. But if you ask a millennial today, who were you inspired by? They'll name you some, obscure influencer who they follow on YouTube or Instagram, or they'll talk about this really cool actress whose show they were seeing yesterday on Amazon Prime Video or Netflix, or they'll talk about a friend or a peer who they're, massively inspired by. And most importantly, occasions for shopping have changed dramatically. No longer is the Indian customer only waiting for, a hallmark annual events like Diwali or Karwa Chauth to make their purchases. Millennials are signaling in an accelerated way over the course of the year. And when you take these macro trends given on the left and you juxtapose them on changing shopping behaviors for millennials on the right, essentially what you'll see is three things. The first one I've already alluded to, which is accelerated signaling. Customers aren't waiting for a fancy car or a Rolex watch to really signal their status or show their desires. They're purchasing at a much faster cadence, buying smaller objects at cheaper prices, and that's really galvanizing this new wave of shopping. The second and one that I'm most excited by is your window shopping behaviors coming online. If you ever remember going to a store, I know it's been a while since most of us have been to one. You'd ask the salesperson, right? Ki kuch aur dikhao, what else is there in your store? We see a lot of that behavior, that browsing behavior, moving online, and of course ensemble purchases versus single brand loyalty. When I used to make customer calls 5 years ago, and ask our users, what's in their beauty bag, they'd name the same Maybelline, Lakme, and MAC Cosmetics, right? But when you ask a customer today, hey, what's in your beauty bag, they'll name you six obscure brands that you may have never really heard of before, but have become a cult within these sub-communities. The second key point that's, driving this shift and creating this new wave of Ecom 2.0 is shifting categories that are creating growth opportunities online. Again, mobile and electronics are, the best possible representation of standardized goods, limited SKUs to a large extent, limited ways of really product differentiation in between one or the other. And now that's been owned online, a lot of the new categories that we see growth opportunities in e-com coming from are categories like home and kitchen, FMCG, BPC, fashion, and others. Again, remember, these are broad categories, but if you really dig into what are people searching for on platforms like LBB, Amazon, Google, and the likes, you'll see very specific keywords, right? Customers are now excited by keto, which incidentally was one of Google's top search keywords about 2 years ago. Clean beauty has become a trend. Seems like it's come out of nowhere. Women don't only want shampoo; they want curly hair shampoo. They don't only want chairs; they want a wicker rattan back chair. They don't only want fashion; they want thrift stores. And really, it's a nuance in search. It's a nuance in trends, and it's a nuance in consumption that's going to dominate online. Of course, the most sort of important piece of this puzzle and piece of this ecosystem creation is channels for customer acquisition, engagement, and brand building. 6 years ago, while I was working, at the BBC, I remember we literally digital was equal to Google and Facebook, kind of, right? But today, when you ask a marketer, what are the channels that you're tapping into? There's everything from WhatsApp marketing, on which multiple multi-million-dollar businesses have been built. There's of course YouTube that's rethinking the way it enables creators to monetize themselves. Of course, TikTok maybe not so applicable in the Indian context, but the ways in which they're creating, video commerce and shoppable opportunities in the American context are absolutely fascinating. Of course, I'm sure a lot of you guys have spent more time than envisaged on Clubhouse over the past a couple of weeks. You've got folks like Tanmay Bhatt who become angel investors, and you've got large actresses like Shraddha Kapoor who are now investing in consumer brands and really wanting skin in the game for this brand growth and this brand development. So really the dynamics of who is the creator, who is the brand, what is the channel, all those lines are becoming blurry. Everything's sort of consolidating into one. And of course, most importantly, right, the fourth piece of this puzzle is the growth of micro and disruptor brands. We recently worked with the Economic Times on recognizing India's top 30 disruptive brands, and this list featured brands that you and I would have never really been talking about 6-7 years ago, from the likes of Slurp Farm, which is a kids-focused healthy food brand, to M Caffeine, which is a coffee-focused skincare and hair care company. You're seeing all sorts of niches crop up and niches come up, and really, enabling this contextual-led commerce and contextual-led purchases, move online and excite customers by creating desires through the channels that I spoke about just now. And if you were to double tap into this, right, and really look into what are the examples that exemplify the use of an ecosystem, to really build products and to build brands. I'll cocktail consumption trend, and use content as well as retail-led distribution and at-home consumption, right, that tapped into this ecosystem of wrapping and made it mainstream through their collaborations and their associations. And of course, you've got marketplaces and platforms and brands like Nykaa, LBB, and Sugar that have really taken an ecosystem-first approach, tapped into everything from creators to community building to content creation to almost challenge incumbents within our respective spaces. I want to end with one fairly simple. Ben Evans, who you must check out, he tracks e-com, new brand creation marketplaces extremely well. He says when you change how you sell, you change what people buy, and that really is where the disruption is coming from. More and more consumer brands, more and more marketplaces, more and more platforms are challenging how things are sold. They're changing the narrative, taking it away from a image shot against a boring white background with 4 lines given on the right hand side or right under the image. They're rethinking how narratives are created with customers, and what they're really doing is building an ecosystem and using that ecosystem as a moat to challenge incumbent brands, and that is what's causing disruption today. With that, thank you so much. You can catch us on LBB's app, or you can see me on any social media platform of your choice.
Thank you so much, Suchita, for those wonderful insights. Now, moving on. Corporations endeavor to achieve strong brands as a powerful tool affording competitive advantage over competitors. However, iconic brands are different from those which are simply large and popular. Iconic brands go beyond mere size or superficial popularity. They stand the test of time. Our next panel discussion will have panelists who will look at understanding the new challenges opportunities surrounding the company's branding strategy in present days, and for a resilient future. So we're all set for our panel. The panelists for this discussion are Aishwarya Pratap Singh, Head of Marketing, Snacks, Noodles and Pasta, ITC Limited; Harshvendra Soin, Global Chief People Officer and Head Marketing, Tech Mahindra; Shubhranshu Singh, Global Head, Brand and Marketing, Royal Enna, Chief Marketing Officer, Pidilite; Vipul Oberoi, Chief Marketing Officer, IIFL Finance; and Ms. Kanika Kalra, Partner, McKinsey and Company, who will be moderating this panel discussion. On the topic, reanalyzing brand equity, ruminate to rejuvenate. Over to you.
Hi, good evening, everybody. And I'm delighted to be moderating this panel on a topic that is actually very, very exciting. What keeps brand equity alive? What makes it exciting in this new age that is very, very different to what's been around over the last many years? With over 500 million internet subscribers, digital adoption in India has fundamentally changed access for the entire household and for consumers. Stay at home recently has also allowed many people to access a customized assortment of multiple products and the irresistible option to compare prices across many platforms. Brand iconic and what keeps it iconic over this time. We are dealing with many things: attention fragmentation, information overflow, and the merging of channels into a more omni-channel world. So, for how do iconic brands actually move beyond boundaries and change the definition of the categories and shape the conversations? How do they live in culture today? So today, I will actually put our first question to our eminent panelists. What are the iconic brands of today? Spotify, Tesla, Facebook, and closer home, Myntra, Flipkart. How are these different from some of the brands that were created 20 years ago? And to begin the conversation, Subhranshu, I'd love your thoughts on the topic.
Yes, thank you, Kanika. Great to see you here. You see, to my mind, iconic is also about, why it has managed to become iconic, not only about identifying which are the iconic brands. Surely some of them that you have named, whether it's an Uber or a Facebook or an Amazon or a Netflix in India and across the world have really zoomed to greatness. But to my mind, what's particularly noteworthy is that they've managed to do this without relying on conventional brand building, without relying on mass to one kind of reach predicated marketing. So they've done it in a very smart way. They've done it through brilliant events. They've done it through innovative PR. They've done it through charismatic personalities of their founders. They've managed to do it by, connecting people peer to peer on their product or service narrative. And I think that's the true definition of iconic. So, it's not about how many years you've been in business. It's not about the size of your revenue alone. Iconic brand would also mean how tightly are you coupled, with your community, with those who create culture, with, commentaries which emerge from the kind of work you're doing. So I think, first of all, in this present era, size alone is not a predictor of achieving iconic status. And secondly, I think brand velocity matters a great deal more today than it did earlier. So to my mind, there are many small brands which we don't know of, which within, let's say, half a decade may seem to be iconic from the yardstick that we would conventionally apply. So I think, to my mind, iconic is what iconic does, and we must accord them that status based on where they're coming from and how they became iconic. So to my mind, Apple is a forever iconic brand. I have a deep relationship with it. I have studied it, but they don't do many of the gimmicky and many of the more neoclassical kind of things that marketeers are celebrating a great deal these days. So I think there is a wide spectrum of brands that are in the gallery of being iconic. More are coming, and that's good news for all of us.
Thank you. No, that's a really interesting point, right? How do you build it unconventionally, and how do you build it with the kind of love and peer-to-peer connection is actually something that is changing. It's not just about size. So Vipul, would love your thoughts on this.
Thanks, Kanika. So a brand becomes iconic, in my opinion, only when it stands the test of time. It's usually over several business cycles. There are product substitutes. There are changing consumer tastes. There are technological disruptions. And the brand that really survives all these and solves the need of customers, or it actually commits to a relationship with the customers with all honesty and transparency, I think that over a period of time makes it an iconic brand. One cannot call itself an iconic brand. It's actually what the customers decide.
And Vipul, I think you pointed to something that is incredibly important, right? At the end of the day, a brand will only be iconic if it understands its customers and understands the need, right? The need for an insight behind these brands is incredibly important. Harshvendra, your thoughts on this? Thanks. Harshvendra, your thoughts on this?
Thanks, Kanika. I think great points made by both Vipul and Shubhranshu. But to me, I think it's a great time, very fascinating time to to be a marketer, purely because a brand today is a two-way communication that's so omni-channel and so prevalent. Today, an iconic brand, to my mind, is not only about a promise, but something that lives or living it daily. In my to humanize itself, and brand that humanize become iconic. And let me clarify, when I say humanize or become humanize, I also mean brands with purposefulness, brands with mindfulness, and brands with inclusiveness. And Shubhanshu talked about Apple. It's a great example, but there are many more. But clearly, it is way beyond just what you do on revenues and EBITDAs. You have to do a lot more. And I think to humanize a brand is to make it iconic.
That's an incredibly powerful point, honestly, to purposefulness, mindfulness, inclusiveness, right? Basically humanizing the brand. But this is not just true for the brands that are born in today's day and age, right? How do we keep a brand that has existed for years and decades and lived by the old models of brand building and actually has scale relevant even today? And Vivek, I do need to go to you on this. You lead an incredibly iconic brand in Pidilite, Fevicol. Love to hear how you think about this in the context of your brand.
See, iconic brands are the brands which break their own boundaries. They don't confine themselves to a particular product segment. They go beyond that. And iconic brands are the brands to which not only the consumers of that brand relate, but even other people. It's possible that a brand which is not consumed by that audience, but they still love that brand. I'll take example of, let's say, Fevicol. Now, I don't think children use Fevicol. They use Fevicol in school, but it's mostly used by carpenters and by craftsmen. But old people as well as children, they love Fevicol because the brand breaks its own boundaries and stands for a larger thought. And I think that defines an iconic brand that actually makes a deep emotional connect with audiences beyond its immediate consumers and stand for a larger thought. Take Cadbury's Dairy Milk. It stands for something sweet, shareable, worth celebrating, quintessential Indian. And those are the core values for which it stands. Fevicol stands for unbreakable bonds. When a brand stands for a core thought or a core value which transcends the boundaries of its physical product segment, that's when I think an iconic brand happens. The second key aspect of an iconic brand is that it actually makes a deep emotional connect and is part of cultural conversations. It triggers a conversation. So, and I think this is very well defined in this day and age of digital conversations, which is happening two ways. In meme factories, you look at the brands which actually generates conversations and consumer generate their own content. So I think that's a very good indicator and of which are the brands of which consumers are generating content on their own. And that's what defined an iconic brand. Iconic brand actually transcends culturally into minds of consumer and it becomes part of the conversation. And truly iconic brands actually start defining the culture of their own. Apple has defined a culture of their own. And it's not necessary that iconic brands are defined only and created only through advertising. I would like to take example of educational brand, Ivy League colleges. Take Harvard. Harvard is never advertised in a true conventional sense, but it's truly an iconic brand. Or take any other Ivy League college. So I think how a brand delivers and consistently stands for something which transcends the boundaries of its immediate delivery of product and service, it first defines an iconic brand.
Brilliant. I love the point. I think some of the brands that we don't often talk about, like Harvard, are have actually branded and got people to greatness over so long, right? That it's actually quite incredible. They would be some of the most valuable brands, I think, in the world. So Branshu, you lead an incredibly iconic brand today as well. So would love to hear more about it and how you think about keeping it
I think
contemporary.
I'll come to Royal Enfield's experience and practice in a second. But I think to add to Vivek's point, I think by and large, advertising is acknowledged to be the grooviest part of marketing, right? That's what's consumer facing. That's what creates conversations. Everybody knows, oh, you're the guys who made that ad or the other. But I think there are a lot many more authors today, and there always have been. But I think just the universal presence of phones and internet and so on and so forth has accelerated that phenomenon and amplified it manyfold. So if you see, besides just the brand owners, there are the customers. I mean, every customer is a walking, talking influencer today. Then there are the traditional media industries. Let's not discount them, right? They create a huge impression and a huge halo for the brand. And of course, then there are the influencers, advocates, and critics. So what's happening now, Kanika, is if I look at if I look at a smartphone, an ordinary smartphone, that has more computing power today than, let's say, the entire NASA organization had in '69 when they put a man on the moon, right? That's the kind of explosion that we've had now. So therefore, what happens is on first bounce, everybody's still sort of in the good old marketing space. It's like when as kids we used to get those crazy balls with bubble gum, you bounce it, everybody catches it on the first bounce because you can predict where it's going. It's the second and the third bounce that gets really wacky and goes in all kinds of directions, because earlier when an advertising campaign did well, somebody wrote about it and you got a page in the Economic Times or whatever, right? Today, if they love it, they will spoof it. So before you know it, your ad campaign has been spoofed and parodied and everybody's speaking about it. So the pace of change, the quality of impact, the clock speed itself has gone up, right? So therefore, now your question was, what do you do with brands which are already iconic, and then how do you manage to sort of keep them there? I think firstly, you don't do it by dabbling or tinkering or doing some miniature thing or the other. You do it on scale, and secondly, you do it from a consumer's point of view. One of the things about long-standing heritage brands which have been around for many decades and have built a presence in society is that consumers also have a deep association. The consumers, the customers feel like they own the brand, they have a voice there, right? So anything that you do wearing the consumer hat and looking at it as a continuous journey tends to become better. And then you have to stay contemporary, as some of our other friends were saying. You have to you have to have the right meme factory. You have to go ahead and join the right conversations. You can't talk in 2000 or 90s or 80s language. You certainly can't stencil things in the conventional form. So I think what is required is basically looking at it from your present day consumer's eyes. And if you do that and manage to keep in mind what made you great in the first place, then that happens. And I'll just take half a minute to tell you about Royal Enfield. I think Siddharth, our MD, his vision has been very consistent here. We are a motorcycling brand. We are a lifestyle brand. We are not only about selling motorcycles. So when you buy a Royal Enfield motorcycle, you get admission to a certain lifestyle, which is a lifestyle of exploration, of adventure, and so on. And with that belief, we've been trying to curate number of experiences for the community. So whether it's, if you like to ride and you like photography, we'll take you on a ride to Hanle in Ladakh or to Kutch, and you can do astral photography. And then you put that user generated content and we put it on our social platform. So it becomes a virtuous loop. So again, it's about the company, but it's also about the customers. It's about the culture industries. It's about the influencers. And it has to be messy. It can't be clean and precise like it used to be. So the more, the merrier. That's really the way in which to stay in business and to keep your brand great.
Fantastic. And so, Branchu, for a minute there, you took us all to Ladakh in this time of lockdown. So thank you for that too.
Kanika, can I add? I mean, this is something that I just feel, a thought which could be a little different one. In my view, to keep a brand iconic, it's also about what we call 3 C's. First one is communicate. Silence may be a virtue, but muted brands are not looked upon. So you have to communicate, and any medium you use. Second is to change. It does not mean that you have to change as a brand, but it means that you have to address the change that's happening around you. And the third one is cheer. And this is part of the ecosystem. Because you're part of the ecosystem, you have to celebrate the cheer that's happening around you. And we've seen that especially in the pandemic world. So sorry, I wanted to just give you that small perspective of what we believe in very deeply.
If I could
Brilliant.
add to
Yeah, yeah, of
Shubhranshu,
course.
see, as Shubhranshu said in the past, iconicity of the brand was built from brands to consumers and through traditional mediums. And nowadays, it's a two-way communication. The power to create brand iconicity and halo is as much in the hand of marketeers as much it is in the hand of consumers, right? So it is the responsibility of the brand to make the stakeholders, consumers, understand, not only consumers, the dealers, the trade partners, the contractors, the investors, understand what the brand stands for, because half the communication you are doing about the brand and creating an image of the brand, and other half is being created by your consumers and your stakeholders. So the soul of the brand and what the core value brand stands for, you have to make everyone understand, because the brand building iconicity is a two-way street and is built from both ways, brand to consumers, consumers to brand. I think that's the point I wanted to add to what Shubhranshu said.
Incredible. And to that, Aishwarya, you're building a brand that is relatively younger, right? And actually building a brand. Bingo is a household name, yet it hasn't existed for 50 years, right? It is younger than that. So I'd love your view on what creates iconic brands on, and how does it feel creating a brand today?
So thanks a lot, Kanika. Actually, yes, there are two sides of marketing. Sometimes you are part of being an iconic brand, and sometimes you feel lucky that yes, I'm fighting with some of those big brands, almost category creators in many of the cases. And that's the kind of battle that you fight. And you know that you have to run faster. You have to break the chain. I mean, we all know that why brands exist. Brands exist because they create a shortcut in the mind of consumer. And in case of iconic brands, that shortcut is far more tougher for a new brand to break, and that is where it is extremely challenging for the newer brands. I'm not talking about the newest brand right now. We are talking about those 10-15-year-old brands that I've been handling, and it's a difficult journey because and what we do at our end is a 3-step process. Not that we follow every time, but it's what we believe in. You break the chain, you break the shortcut through a functional benefit. So we try to give a reason. We try to give a reason to the consumer that this is why you should be buying this, not that. Because that's how you will be breaking a chain. Then you start building the emotional benefit, because you can't build emotional benefit head on with an iconic brand. Because ultimately, one of the reasons of existence of an iconic brand is the emotional connect. Beyond a point, people stop evaluating the brand, the benefits. They just look at the color, yellow, orange, or that bottle shape, whatever, and then they will just buy it. So you have to provide a reason, and then you move into the emotional benefit, because you are able to find out set of people who are not just innovators and adapters, but you're also looking at certain mature set of people also. And in the end, which is slightly longer and probably certain iconic brands are taking, is the societal benefit, but that will be taking a longer time for us to do. And I'll give you one example. I think, like you mentioned about Bingo, relatively newer brand, launched in 2007, and we every day it's a fight, because it's on two sides. We are fighting big brands, and also we have to be ahead of curve, not in the area of snacking. We take a larger space in the mind of youth, because it's a out and out youth brand, and it is extremely difficult because that time you're fighting for mind space across the categories, and snacks is a very very low consumption product item. People don't think much before buying. So we created a hook. We said that humor will be at the core, which is closest to the TG over here, and that is how we are finding our niche around that. And I'll end with the last example. I mean, it's my favorite example that yes, we have one of those really good commercials and all, but 2.5, 3 years back, we took a journey. We said that we will be launching our own comedy shows. We started with the college activations, which was what we call it Bingo Comedy Adda. Then lockdown happened. We said that we can't stop ourselves. We moved immediately to digital medium, and we tied up with a lot of comedians and all. But here after that, we said that it is not just okay to be present on digital and say, yes, मैं youth brand or digital पे रहूँगा. We created larger than life, a whole TV show on Star Plus, which is what we call a Ringo Comedy Adda. Some of the best TV and digital stars came on that show, and that is how it reached around 1.6 crore kind of viewership. That is how you create a universe around what you strongly believe in, and that is how you're trying to break the chain in the mind of consumer. We are in that path. Obviously, we are leaders in many of the market, but we are still trying to reach that journey where we actually being called to that level. But I'm sure we'll do that. It's a consistent effort that we do day in and day out, and hopefully that will result into.
Thank you, Aishwarya. I see you coming back to some of the things that Subhranshu said, right? Do it at scale, do it with a tone of voice, and do it in a way that matters to your consumers, right? And Vipul, you have a very interesting example, I know, of a world which is, maybe a parallel to that of brands. Would love to hear your views on and deconstruct that example for us.
It was regarding the example of an iconic brand. And as I mentioned, that an iconic brand, I feel, is one that stands the test of time. And for me, the one iconic brand would be Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, a departure from the usual suspects. But he is considered to be like the best in his field. He has withstood really test of time, gone through tremendous crisis, and he has consistently reinvented himself. And like any other iconic brand, he is like popular across all markets, across all age groups, and across time. And how do we, like Vivek mentioned, that you become part of a conversation? And how do we describe someone who is best in its field, whether it be a brand or person? We say he's the Amitabh Bachchan of so and so. And if you attain that status, then that is being iconic.
I completely agree. And I think one of the things is that he's kept himself contemporary, right? His Twitter feed is as active as anyone else's. In fact, I would think more active than the most contemporary actors today. So he has managed to adapt to the channels as they become. And I think it's a big part of what's kept him, young and iconic even today, even for today's audiences. Fantastic. Sure. No, I think this was an incredible session. I'm going to segue into a far more complex topic. The complex topic is actually omni-channel, right? With multiple touch points, our consumers are actually looking at our brands offline, online, in a mix of both. We have no idea where discovery happens and where the final sale will ultimately happen. Along with that, there is also a far larger ecosystem, and some people refer to it: employees, shareholders, right? Activist investors. The brand is now far less insular than it always was before. So I would love to, at this point of time, actually talk about how do brands actually manage. The question is, how do brands stay consistent and recognizable in this omni-channel age? How do they ensure the same experience offline and online? Service organization, where where this challenge is manifold more. So Harshvendra, I'm going to segue to you here and put this question to you first. I'd love to hear your voice.
Thanks, Kanika, and I think that's a very valid question. And the ethos of omni-channel today relies on systems being connected and communicative across channels. But over the last 18 months, we saw something very interesting. We see omni-channel has evolved really from a cell phone platform, or cell phone platforms, to third-party marketplaces and many, many more factors. Today, customers expect me to know them, right? And then communicate with them across every channel. The other thing that is also interesting is the span of attention is very, very small. In our industry, we never ever thought that we would close a deal sitting miles away and not presenting to a customer right in front of him, showing the body language, showing all the stuff. But imagine, we have done so many deals now virtually, where we have connected over multiple channels, but actually sold something that's really woolly. It's not a product. We're actually selling a solution and a promise. So I think in this whole high-tech world, omni-channel and the way to sustain it has become really interesting. The other thing I would say is, it is also important, like you said, what we communicate internally. Do your employees believe your story? Because Many leaders we have seen have fallen by the wayside because that emotive connect was never there. And in a virtual world, a strong iconic brand is that connects internally, externally, way beyond just your own employees and your own brand or product into the communities and nations. So it's very interesting times for all of us as marketers.
Fascinating. Vipul, you must have stories on that too.
So in fact, I was recalling that about 10 years ago, the great consumer insight was that people lead different lives. So they lead different lives. Their behaviors are different in the offline world and online world. But now the two are so intertwined that it's not so much the case. Now, a brand also therefore has to be consistent across both platforms. And employees part is as important as what we call the digital part of it. In my 15 years in financial services, I've realized that people don't really invest into a product. People invest into their hopes. In fact, they invest their hopes and trust into the person who's sitting across the table. In services industry, the people are the product. Similarly, digital platform is the product. And while digital brings speed and consistency, people bring that emotion that actually personifies another, how my panelists mentioned, humanizes the whole brand. And this is where that difference really comes. So I'm sorry, just recall, it came to my mind. The wonderful director Balki was, there's this story he was hearing about, this anecdote, that he said what he does is he gets his actors to buy into the journey. He says that unless and until they get bought into the whole concept of that film, that plot, and why are they really making that film, what difference would that make, they won't really put their whole and soul. I think that's pretty much the same with employees as well.
Ah, nice. So you need to know the full story and the plot to actually, and the full journey to actually live the brand. I like that thought, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vivek.
See, Kanika, omni-channel has happened and it's a reality of life. And, to make it simple, it can transcend from your retail experience, showroom experience, to your digital channels, to your physical dealers, and your own advertising and your own touch points in service industry, own employees. I think 2 or 3 aspects are very, very important. One is that the people sitting in this room, the head of marketing, and their role has changed actually. Their role has changed from not only pushing the brand propositions through marketing channels, which are conventional in nature, but use technology to connect all these, what I call touch points for consumers. And often they are not connected. And that is where the fracture in the consumer experience comes. How often we have had a good experience at a dealer showroom and then had a not so good experience with the call center. So I think it is a job to make sure that all the touch points are connected, and it is easy to say, but difficult to do in real life, so that a customer has a unified experience. The second thing is the beauty of this data, which is coming from all these touch points, as you said, is that we are able to actually create consumer personas. So then we have to decide what kind of communication and proposition to deliver to what kind of consumer. It is no longer the same communication and same proposition to all consumers. I think the segmentation and personification to me is the biggest excitement of this technology and the various touch points. And I think we need to decide we should not over communicate to some kind of consumers and not under communicate. And last but not the least, I think CMO's role is not just to do brand propositions and marketing, but to also connect stakeholders. He is the conductor of an orchestra. Who has to make sure that technology is used to connect all the stakeholders, all the touch point, and the music is played in harmony, which means that then the harmony which connects the all touch points is the brand soul, the brand proposition, and consistency to maintain, and responsibility to maintain that consistency lies with the head of the marketing. So we have turned from being head of marketing from being conductors of an orchestra just by sheer compulsions of this fragmentation of touch points, emergence of technology, and as you rightly said, the fact that brand doesn't live only with consumers and stakeholders, it lives as much with the internal employees, because they deliver the brand to our customers and consumers.
I love the analogy, Vivek.
Yes, that's what we
Okay.
are. We are now. We are conductors of our orchestra, and we need not be experts in everything. We just have to make sure that all instruments which we are not playing are played in harmony. That's all.
Brilliant analogy. And so one of the tools that the conductor of this orchestra has, and I'm going to use your analogy, Vivek, because I like it so much, is data, right? And
Yes.
like you said, and perfect segue actually into my next question: how are brands leveraging this data? Does it make life easier, or is it just making life tougher, right? And how are you being able to actually take what used to be, if you remember, 15 to 35 male SECAB, let's target them, to now can I target this type of person sitting in this type of home with these kind of affinities? So on this, Subhranshu, I'd love to hear your view, right? On a brand that is so passion led, how are you leveraging data?
Yes, I think the opportunities for data collection, for data encounters, for data aggregation, for analytics, for culling out insights, all of them have increased in the course of the last 2 decades. Let's say, Kanika, that you and I have been in business, right? But the question to ask is, are we genuinely getting to be better marketeers because of that data? So very often, just because multiple metrics are available to you, just because you can follow the consumer and have just unlimited number of data points, you can also drown in that data as a decision maker and when you're applying judgment. So the important thing to me is, first of all, data collection, just because technically it's available and possible, should not be some fishing expedition. Then you look what the net brought up. Oh, I have an octopus. Oh, you have a pomfret. It doesn't work that way. It is about still having robust hypothesis in your head, validating it. And by the way, data collection exercise has also made it infinitely more looped. So every day, in fact, every moment, it's possible to be sharper, better, iteratively more effective than the very previous moment, right? Now, it reminds me of a small Spanish novel by Jorge Luis Borges. It's a one para novel. It's a satire. It says that the emperor asked him to make a exact map. So he wanted to map the entire empire and earth as it existed. And that's the real world around us. That is not a map. For a map, you have to rise above, you have to levitate a little bit and see things on a reduced scale. Likewise, with data, just because superfluous amounts of data is available, you have to decide what is the measurable impact of it and then focus in on that data. That's point number one. From our point of view, I think it allows us to do more precise nurturing from awareness to consideration. I think it allows you to, guess more effectively. And I think it allows you to, from your portfolio, serve intenders and customers to basically get them to make their choices in a more mindful and better manner. So these are the immediate benefits. And as Vivek was saying about omni-channel earlier, there's no one way to be famous anymore. When we began in marketing, there was a rate card era. You could buy 15 spots on Chitrahar or the Sunday movie and you could be famous. But today, this peer-to-peer thing, and it's not as if we all chose, the 6 or 10 or 600 of us chose to have it. That's the way consumer lifestyles evolved. And in many cases, we are scrambling and playing catch up. So I think the data, relevance is it keeping you sharper at the marketing end? Is it making you read their minds better? Is it allowing you to convert their desires into tangible things faster? Are you serving them faster? And last but not the least, Kanika, there are a lot of marketing, as you know, is a business that's done in sunshine. You can't perfect it in some lab or on some Excel sheet. And therefore, because it's in the real world, there are a number of contingencies, number of mishaps, unintended effects. People don't like something. We may be very happy with our campaign, they don't like it. But then data allows you to make that change sooner, faster. Course corrections are better. So overall, you're spending more effectively and so on. So I think we should look at data as the fuel, not as the output. Then data is a fuel for a better marketing journey. That's the way I look at it. But I am very much for data-minded marketing, except that I don't want to be, drowned in
spectator and kind of take that perspective, right?
Everybody was in Nariman. Many people lost touch with reality because they weren't encountering real people often enough. I mean, that's of course an anecdotal reference, but I think, yes, I think from time to time you look at the data and then you marry that to what you see in your everyday life and you'll get a better picture.
Got it. So look beyond the screen as well. See that. Awesome.
The only thing I would add to Shubhranshu, and I'm tempted because we deal with this animal called data. Data, they say, is the new oil, but remember, oil is slippery. And you have to have a good grip. So I think analytics is important. It's not data also, but because sometimes you can get drowned in this new oil, and we all get so tempted by getting all the data that we can. And we realize it in our industry that, data is, it's great to have right data. And I agree with Shubhranshu completely, but it is slippery. So you have to have the right analysis and reach the right conclusion.
Just to complete what Shubhranshu and Harshindra is saying without repeating, I think, yes, it's exciting because a lot of data is available. And as Harsh said, analytics will help us make sense of it. But at the end of the day, marketers need to have capability to get insights out of it. And that will only come when we connect data from disparate sources. Data from a retail point connected to data coming in through my, let's say, scanning data, which is from purchase, and data coming from my contractors. Once I connect these three, then some insight happens. So I think insighting is something we should not lose sight of in this day and age of data. And that is, we must teach ourselves and a youngster marketers in our teams to do it. I think that is very critical. And last but not the least, I still want to again reiterate and support what Shubhranshu said. Marketing is done in sunshine. So where you collect data from is equally important. It's not just enough to sit on a console and get data coming in through various optical fibers. You have to go in the field, talk to contractors, talk to stakeholders, talk to dealers. And that is very invaluable data. That is as important as data coming in through, let's say, I would say digital means. Human data is equally important as well. And you have to mix both to arrive at insights.
Love it. Love it. Fantastic.
Can I have a slightly different view, if I can share? A different approach, in a way. Not, of course, everybody understands data is important, but I personally believe in taking data head on. For me, it's like data is like a potential culprit, a criminal who knows something is hiding what he knows something. And like a police wala, if you beat it badly enough, it will eventually confess out some insights. Because you don't know what insight will come unless and until you really churn out that data. But yes, obsession of data with data is not good. Ultimately, data has to be converted to information and translated to insights. But what that really helps me as a marketer is to understand how the consumer is behaving and doing at every step of the funnel, and not stages, every step of the funnel on a more real-time basis. And therefore, our decisions become more real-time. It becomes more customized according to different segments. And that is the benefit why it's also a curse, because we can never relax as marketers now, because this data always coming. It doesn't come once a week now. It comes every hour. So, and you have dashboards now. Everything is automated. You can anytime go and check. So while yes, it has helped us make our more human-driven decisions better. And that's why it's, like Harsh said, it's a fuel.
Amazing. Aishwarya, your views on how data has added magic or removed it, and how should we keep it in?
So I think largely, I think what is being said is what I strongly believe. In fact, I believe on a slightly on the other side, where I actually think that conventional marketing has not gone anywhere. Conventional consumer understanding has not gone anywhere. I still spend 1 to 2 hours with a consumer before lockdown. And I have to understand consumer. I still go to house of consumer, understand how she's behaving. So to me, everything else is not is helping me. But what you understand when you are sitting with the consumer still is more important, most important. I'm into mass product marketing, where there's a book called How Brands Grow by Baron Sharp. It says that it is true for any brand, but at least for my set of brands, I don't believe in segmentation or hyper segmentation basis data or hyper targeting my communication. I have a brand core, which is important for me to guard in, and then I have to reach out to consumer through different means. I don't think I should be hyper segmenting my TG. And I am happy to be proven wrong, but right now I don't think the data has proved, at least the data available through digital modes have actually proven to be more effective, to be actually bang for the buck. Happy to be proven wrong, but we spend heavily. But right now I'm yet to see the impact that I get on running a TVC as against a digital campaign. The answer is with me right now. We do track studies, which is the industry norm, in which what is the source of awareness? You'll still find that even for youth, India is still TV dominated. So we are forward looking, but that does not mean that we should say that people have moved to a digital age. I think on a weekly basis, 600 million households actually access TV, and that is important for us to organize for. Everything else is an enabler, and we will definitely work on that. I spend disproportionately on digital. Does not mean that I will be telling that that is the future for me. Probably digital has to really work hard and prove a lot before we actually start believing. Can I spend 70-80% of my spends on digital? If it is so well data managed and so integrated with the consumer behavior, I don't think anyone can take that call right now, except the niche brands and the new age brands. Perfectly okay with that.
Kanika, if I can bring in the B2B aspect to data. See, in B2B, data is really help in analytics. When we use very advanced CRM systems, whether like Salesforce.com, I mean, that can tell my Salesforce that this segment of inactive consumers in this segment who are coming through websites are more prone to this offer more, or people who are coming through cycle of my events, they are more perceptive or receptive to offerings of some kind. My salespeople may not be fully aware that this segment of customers who have been active or inactive for so many months, who came through website, who bought something, they could be open to buying something again. So in B2B, I think this dicing and slicing and segmentation on a continuous basis, we find it very, very useful to keep targeting our industrial customers and consumers, and to cross-sell to them or to upsell to them. And they actually sometimes throws up very, very potentially, I would say, valuable segments which were hitherto hidden. So I think data is very, very useful. But the key aspect here is that once we identify these segments, what do we do with it? And how do I then approach them through my sales force, whether I again approach them through a physical contact or digital contact, what do I do with it? So I think it's data and CRM are very, very useful in B2B and industrial selling. I must say that.
Incredible. That's a really good point. I know we've crossed time, so thank you so much. This is a conversation I could have had all day. It's so fascinating, and this is a fantastic panel. I have to say, in summary, I mean, channels have changed and diversified, sources of awareness have changed and diversified. The number of stakeholders that a brand manages has changed. The amount of data we have access to is incredible. However, the one thing that I heard from you is that what makes brands iconic is still keeping the consumer at the heart and keeping real human insights at the heart and applying that at a scale, with the finesse of a conductor. So to that, thank you so much to this absolutely incredible panel. I really wish we could go all day, but I do need to wrap. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. Thank
You have a future in television news, Kanika. See you. Bye-bye.
Ghee shakkar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kanika, and all of our panelists. That was indeed a very stimulating session. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here is the moment of the day where we unveil the cover of the 4th Iconic Brands Coffee Table Book 2020 to 21. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the most spectacular segment of the summit. Time to unveil the Economic Times iconic brands for this year. This covers the success stories of brands that have established themselves and their organizations through their path-breaking ideas. This listing celebrates and acknowledges these organizations that have contributed immensely to India's business image and the economic prowess with their strategic planning and execution. This list is not just the best of the best, but quintessentially the change makers that the rest of the industry is going to follow suit. So please put your hands together for the first iconic brand of the evening, ACT FiberNet. Congratulations, ACT FiberNet, for this recognition. We now move on to the next one on the list of iconic brands, and that is, please give a warm welcome to AGS Transact. Congratulations, AGS Transact, for this achievement. Moving on, a brand that all of us are well aware of. Please put your hands together for Air India Express.
Hello everyone, my name is Alok Singh. I am the CEO of Air India Express. It's an honor to be selected by Economic Times as an iconic brand, especially in a time when brands are struggling to stay relevant and keep connected with the customers. A good brand is about trust, reliability, resilience. This award recognizes that in us. This award also recognizes our unique livery and branding. Each aircraft tail is a canvas that depicts some aspect of our culture and heritage, and it brings out the diversity of this amazing country. I believe this award is also a tribute to the people who stand behind the brand, our 1,400 employees who have taken great personal risk to make sure that our services keep going. So thank you once again on behalf of all of us at Air India Express.
Congratulations, Air India Express. Moving on to a brand that is synonymous with our country. Please put your hands together for Amul.
I feel very privileged and honored to accept this Economic Times Iconic Brand Award on behalf of 3.6 million farmers of Gujarat who own in this India's biggest FMCG food brand, Amul. Amul, which you know is 75 years old brand, and it is owned by the farmers but managed by the professionals. And I don't think this Amul brand is owned by even the farmers of Gujarat. Amul is owned by every farmer of India or every consumer of India. So once again, I thank the ET and the jury member for selecting and for awarding Amul this iconic brand of 2021. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Amul and its widespread family. We now move on to a brand that has been around for generations. Please give a warm welcome to the next addition to the iconic brands, Bank of Baroda.
Since the time the pandemic hit, Bank of Baroda has tried to understand, empathize, support and motivate the masses through constant narratives on hope, positivity in our branding strategies on a variety of platforms. Our brand musicals titled Tera Kaam Ho Jayega, Fir Jeetenge and India Together were directed towards the spread of progressiveness and optimism. We shall continue to advocate for safe banking through digital modes such as internet banking, mobile applications and virtual payment system. Bank of Baroda thanks Economics Times for honoring the brand as iconic. We are committed to working towards a safer and healthy planet. Stay safe, stay home, bank digitally. Thank you.
Next up, a stalwart of online education in our country. Please give a warm welcome to Byju's.
Thanks a lot. I don't think I do great acceptance speeches, but I think moments like this make you feel very grateful to be part of such a fabulous team who takes a responsibility of the learning of so many students, especially over the last 1 year where literally everything stopped. They work tirelessly from home, and all of us have been constant and true to our mission of making students fall in love with learning, to continue learning, to help them become self-initiated learners. So even though we have a really long way to go, I think moments like this are testimony to the fact that we are on the right path, and we are excited as we reach many, many more students, and we aspire also to go globally to take Byju's from India to the world. Thanks a lot.
Way to go, Byju's. Congratulations. Next up, a brand that all of us use. Well, almost all of us. Please put your hands together for Dabur Red.
Good morning, everyone. I am Harkaval Singh, Head Marketing Oral Care at Dabur India. It is an immense pleasure to be here at the Economic Times Iconic Brands of the Year Award. I am extremely honored to be receiving this award on behalf of the entire Dabur family. I am grateful to Economic Times for this recognition and would like to thank them for the same. These times have been challenging for all businesses, and it has not been any different for Dabur Red Paste. Despite the pandemic and its uncertain times, we were able to grow Dabur Red franchise at back of some aggressive, effective and heartfelt communication. Special mention to all the warriors of Dabur sales team who on the field ensured that no consumer misses out on their favorite toothpaste. Would like to thank each and every Dabur consumer for the love and trust they have bestowed on us, thereby making Dabur Red Paste India's #1 Ayurvedic toothpaste. This award is a testament to the good work done by each one of us at Dabur. My sincere thanks to Economic Times for organizing this great event and recognizing the brands which make a difference in every Indian's life. So thank you Team ET, the organizing committee and the judges. Congratulations to all other winners too. Take care, stay safe everyone. Thank you.
Next up, we have another iconic brand. Please put your hands together for Everest Spices. Next up, another iconic and spectacular brand. Please put your hands together for IDBI in Tech.
Hi, I'm Surajit Roy, MD and CEO of IDBI in Tech Limited. I'm happy to accept this recognition on behalf of my organization, IDBI in Tech Limited, as one of the iconic brands of India 2021 from Economic Times. My colleagues have played an integral part in making IDBI in Tech brand widely accepted and acclaimed. Our brand is identified by our best of breed solutions in combating financial crime, the IAML, and our enterprise-wide reconciliation and settlement system, which is PADSS certified. Both these products are our patented products. We bring a unique approach to digital transformation, one that is driven by innovation, agility, and startup mindset. The result? An enhanced ability to deliver value-led, differentiated portfolio of services that makes our brand trustworthy, dependable, and finds a connect with the decision makers in the BFSI industry. Making the customer win is our brand identity, which we achieve through our core values of integrity, ingenuity, and intelligence. Thank you.
Congratulations, IDBI family, for that spectacular recognition. Next up, another iconic and noteworthy brand. Please put your hands together for IIFL Finance.
Hello, I am Vipul Oberoi, Chief Marketing Officer of IIFL Finance. I would like to thank Economic Times for this award. It's an honor for any brand to be recognized by Economic Times. I'm accepting this award on behalf of 18,000 IIFL Finance employees who have worked relentlessly in these COVID times, all the while sticking to our core values, which can be summarized in 2 words: Seedhi Baat. A brand is, in essence, a promise. And the promise IIFL Finance brand has made to its customers is that it will provide financial solutions the Seedhi Baat way. That is, to keep products simple, ensuring transparency, and displaying an unwavering commitment to the customer relationship. This has led to 6 million customers keeping their trust in IIFL Finance. This has resulted in 51% year-on-year growth in profits on the back of 18% growth in loan assets. Thank you, Economic Times, for recognizing the equity of our brand and motivating us to do even better. Thank you.
Congratulations to the IIFL Finance family. Next up, another spectacularly iconic brand. Please put your hands together for Indo-Count Industries.
Good evening, everybody. We at Indo-Count thank Economic Times and jury for bestowing this honor onto our brand Boutique Living and recognizing it as iconic brand. It has been a great journey of understanding consumers' sleeping habits and creating the best solution for the consumers. We will continue our journey. Thanks a lot.
Congratulations, Indo-Count Industries, on that recognition. Next up, adding an amazing brand to the iconic list. Please put your hands together for Infosys.
Hi, this is Sumit Virmani from Infosys. Thank you, Economic Times, for this wonderful recognition. When we ask our employees, our clients, and our stakeholders about what brand Infosys stands for in their minds, they touch upon a few themes that have stayed consistent for the last 4 decades. Unwavering client focus, exemplary employees, not only powered by intellect but also driven by values, extraordinary innovation and delivery prowess, and of course, a high social consciousness. I am delighted that through this recognition, Economic Times is recognizing all that is iconic about brand Infosys. Thank you.
Congratulations, Infosys, on that recognition. Next up, a fantastic brand that has been around for generations. Please put your hands together for JK Lakshmi Cement.
I am greatly honored for brand JK Lakshmi Cement being recognized as the Economics Times Iconic Brand of India 2021. A huge honor for JK Lakshmi Cement Limited, which for almost 4 decades has always focused on product quality, customer satisfaction, and innovation. Our flagship brand JK Lakshmi Cement enjoys a premium position in the market and has an ever-increasing base of loyal customers spread over Western, Central, Northern, and Eastern India's cement markets. Served by a wide network of over 7,000 channel partners, the brand has created a strong presence in the existing and new emerging cement markets in the country. With Buland Soch and matching actions, and through a variety of conventional and non-conventional means, our committed and capable team of professional work passionately to take the brand JK Lakshmi Cement to a greater height. I, Srivat Singhania, Executive Director, dedicate this recognition to our loyal customer and business associates whose tireless work and faith in the company has put the brand in the leadership position. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Congratulations, JK Lakshmi Cement. And adding another arm of the JK family, please put your hands together for JK Tires.
Hi, I'm Anshuman Singhania, Managing Director, JK Tire and Industries. I would like to thank ET for recognizing us as an iconic brand of the year 2021. It is a proud feeling as JK Tire, the pioneers of radial technology, has been a formidable brand and continuously innovating the products and earning customers' growing trust. Some of our recent consumer offerings, which truly make us an icon, are the launch of the India's first ever smart tire with Tire Pressure Monitoring System (TPMS). Along with that, our rollout of 20 millionth truck bus radial tires, becoming the first and the only Indian company to achieve this milestone. Being recognized as the iconic brand again makes it even more important for us to continue to innovate and strive towards improving customer experience by providing truly differentiated world-class tire and mobility solutions. I thank you once again.
Congratulations to the JK Tire family for that recognition. Next up, a fantastic addition to the iconic brands of this year. Please put your hands together for Liberty Shoes.
Hello everyone, this is Anupam Bansal from Liberty. I'm very thankful to Economic Times and ET Edge for recognizing Liberty for its landmark achievements. It was a tough journey to start footwear business since independence, where footwear was reserved for small scale. And now growing from a small company to a corporate was a big journey. Taking inspiration from all the multinationals and a lot of competition, to sustain all that competition was a real challenging task. Today, becoming one of the favorite brands of the country and servicing Indian consumer for a great value for money product is something which we love and adore. I wish to continue further from here on, and I would again like to thank Economic Times and
Next up, another astounding brand. Please put your hands together for Orient Cement.
Hi everyone, I'm Manish Dua, President Sales and Marketing, Orient Cement. It is really a wonderful feeling to be amongst the top 50 iconic brands in India 2021. Thank you Economic Times for this recognition. Our vision has always been to create brand value through customer focus and by remaining mindful of sustainability parameters. Through the years, our brands Birla Evan Strongcrete, Birla Evan Premium Cement have built a legacy of trust, helping us to emerge as one of the fastest growing cement manufacturers in the markets we operate. I want to thank each and every one, our customers, channel partners, every stakeholder, and of course, each and every Orient team member for this success. Team Orient, this award is yours. Keep going. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to Orient Cement on that achievement and recognition. Next up, another stupendous brand is being added to the iconic brands list. Please put your hands together for Oswald Books.
Hello everyone and warm greetings of the day to you all. I'm Swati Jain, the Editor-in-Chief and the Editorial Director at Oswald Books. I would like to thank Economic Times for recognizing Oswald Books as one of the iconic brands of the country. We, ever since our inception in 1985, have worked on the mission of making learning simple for students of the country. everything we do at Oswal Books is with students at the nucleus. Every offering strives to simplify learning, to make learning a richer and a more wholesome experience for every student. It is awards like these that give us that required stimulus to go that extra mile and do a little more. I would like to again thank Economic Times on behalf of the entire Oswal Books family for this wonderful recognition. We truly value this. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to Oswal Books for that achievement. Next up, another fantastic brand. Please put your hands together for Pidilite.
Hello everyone, I am Vivek Sharma, Chief Marketing Officer, Pidilite Industries Limited. Trust all of you are safe and healthy. I would like to begin by thanking the Economic Times for recognizing Pidilite as the iconic brand of 2021. This recognition is the reflection of Pidilite being a consumer-centric company and focus on innovation and creating new categories. Today, our brands like Fevicol, Fevikwik, M-Seal and Dr. Fixit are trusted household and industrial names and have forged strong bonds with people from all walks of life. Once again, thank you Economic Times.
Congratulations to the Pidilite family on that recognition. Next up, another ingenious brand. Please put your hands together for PNB Housing Finance. Next up, another fantastic and super sweet brand. Please put your hands together for Roo Afza by Hamdard Laboratories India Food Division.
Very good afternoon. This is Hamid Ahmed, Trustee and CEO of Hamdard Laboratories India Food Division. On behalf of Hamdard Laboratories India, I would like to thank Economic Times and the organizers for felicitating us with the ET Iconic Brands of India for Roo Afza. Our portfolio at Hamdard Laboratories India Food Division is Sharbat Roo Afza. We have come out with a sugar-free variant called Sharbat Roo Afza Light. We also have honey and squashes in our portfolio. Consumers are loving our dairy variants of Roo Afza, which is Roo Afza Lassi and Roo Afza Milkshake in Tetra Packs. Roo Afza Fusion, which is a mixture of Roo Afza with various juices, that's doing really well. This recognition will motivate us in coming out with new products and bridging our gaps with the consumers. Thank you so much.
Congratulations to the Roo Afza family for that recognition. Next up, another stupendous brand. Please put your hands together for the Sapat Group.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nikhil Joshi, Group Managing Director of the Sapat Group. First of all, I'd like to thank Economic Times for nominating Sapat as one of the 50 iconic brands of India. Founded in 1897 in pre-independence India, Sapat Lotion and Sapat Malam soon became brands of choice for the common man for various skin ailments. Today, transformed as a skin specialist brand, Sapat Dr. Skin provides best-in-class products and services to millions across the country and is now poised for the global markets. In the tea category as well, Sapat Chai features among the top 10 tea brands in India. Popular tea brands from our stable include Sapat Parivar Chai, Chai Time and Sayadri Tea. Every day, millions of Indians wake up with a cup of their favorite Sapat tea. Our new brands as well, like Sapat Ayusas Adulsa Cough Syrup and Sapat Sogo Hair Oil, are now emerging as leaders in their own categories. Being nominated as one of India's 50 iconic brands is a real honor and a testament to our values and legacy that now spans over 123 years. Thank you for this prestigious award.
Congratulations, the Sapat Group, on that achievement. Next up, another ingenious brand. Please put your hands together for Somani Ceramics.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Abhishek Somani, Managing Director of Somani Ceramics Limited. On behalf of the entire team of Somani Ceramics, I would like to thank Economic Times and its iconic jury for bestowing us with this honor. It's humbling to receive the award for the best iconic brand. Though this year has been full of turmoil, but this is a very special year for us, as it's brand Somani's Golden Jubilee year. And this year has become even more special with being bestowed with this award. I would like to thank and appreciate all our trade partners, our employees, and every key stakeholder for contributing in our journey, for helping us reach where we are today through all the ups and downs of the last 50 years. We are focused and ready to touch new heights of success in the future. We are continuously innovating to give the best-in-class products to our customers in terms of design, quality, and consistency. This award further motivates us to keep working in the same direction and take Somani Ceramics to newer heights. Once again, thank you all very much.
Congratulations to the Somani Group for that fantastic recognition. Moving on, another fantastic brand. Added to the list of iconic brands, please welcome Sonalika Tractors. Congratulations to the Sonalika Tractors family for that recognition. Next up, another synonymous brand that needs no introduction. Please put your hands together for the State Bank of India.
Hi, I'm Dinesh Kumar Khara, Chairman of State Bank of India. At the outset, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Economic Times for awarding SBI as India's Iconic Brand 2021. It gives me immense pleasure to receive this special award on behalf of the bank. Since inception, SBI has kept customers at the core of every action and has aimed to provide the best banking experience to its millions of customers. The appreciation and acknowledgement from Economic Times towards our endeavor to customer-centric approach is gratifying. We stay committed to work towards building innovative products and providing services that suit the requirements of Indians residing in various parts of the country, along with our customers spread across the world. I feel it is this unflinching trust of our valued customers and the wholehearted dedication of our employees that makes SBI an iconic brand. Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Next up, adding another stalwart to the iconic brands list. Please put your hands together for another arm of Tata, Tata Shakti by Tata Steel.
Namaskar, I'm Praveen Srivastav, Chief of Marketing and Sales for Branded Products and Retail with Tata Steel. We serve B2C and SME customers through our various branded steel products. I thank Economic Times for choosing once again one of our brands, Tata Shakti, for this year's prestigious Iconic Brand Award. Tata Shakti is India's leading galvanized corrugated roofing sheet, which serves over 20 lakh customers per year, primarily focused in rural India. The brand ethos is live with pride, and it strives towards development of rural India and a special focus on women empowerment with its social initiative called Main Hoon Shakti. This is the second time in row that Tata Shakti has won this prestigious Economic Times Iconic Brand Award, and I very humbly accept it on behalf of all my stakeholders, right from manufacturing to my tremendous team, and to all on behalf of all my dealers and distributors for giving their support and patronage to Tata Shakti. Thank you.
Congratulations to the Tata Shakti family for this recognition. Next up, another ingenious brand. Please put your hands together for Tech Mahindra.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Harshwinder Soin, and I am the Global Chief People Officer and Head of Marketing at Tech Mahindra. This has been a very challenging period for all of us, and I do hope that you and your families are safe and healthy. It is an honor indeed for Tech Mahindra to be recognized by the Economic Times as an iconic brand. This is a testimony to our efforts as a leading digital transformation service provider. We have always been an agile and purpose-led company, delivering best-in-class human-centric technology solutions globally. We at Tech Mahindra believe in creating meaningful impact on the ground, driving positive change within and outside, and celebrating our togetherness. It is our collective resolve to rise that drives us to do more for all our employees and the communities. Thank you once again.
Congratulations to the Tech Mahindra family for that recognition. Next up, another fantastic brand added to the iconic brand list this year. Please put your hands together for the Muthoot Group. Congratulations to the Muthoot Group for that amazing recognition. Next up of the iconic brand list. Please put your hands together for Vardhaman Textiles.
Hello everyone, this is Suchita Oswal Jain, the Vice Chairman and Joint Managing Director of Vardhaman Textiles, India's leading textile conglomerate. I'm delighted to be a part of the 4th edition of the Economic Times Iconic Brands of India, and will take this opportunity to thank Economic Times for acknowledging Indian brands and celebrating their accomplishment. Vardhaman is country's largest vertically integrated textile manufacturing company, delivering customer delight for over 55 years. It is a legacy built on strong pillars of ethical dealings, culture of values, continuous thrust on innovation, and determination to meet customer expectations. We continuously strive to optimize brand experience for our customers, stakeholders, and people associated with us. Owing to strengths like unparalleled product range and quick adaptability, we are a preferred partner for global brands and are exporting quality products to over 75 countries. At the same time, our actions are rooted in sustainability and holistic development. We have the largest installed production capacity in the country and also have employed the largest female workforce in the sector. Vardhaman aims to be one-stop solution for all textile requirements of the customers, while willingly playing our role as a responsible corporate citizen. To conclude, on behalf of entire Vardhaman family, I thank Times Group for felicitating us as one of the iconic brands of India 2021. This recognition is a motivation for all the organizations which are representing India at the global front, as also those who aspire to do so. Thank you.
Congratulations to Reliance Digital for that achievement. Next up, we have another amazing brand. Please put your hands together for Berger Paints.
Good evening and thank you for the recognition. On behalf of Berger Paints, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Economic Times and its eminent jury for choosing Berger Paints as an iconic brand in India. Over the years, we have tried to build up this brand. Our ability to understand the Indian consumer better and to deliver products which are innovative, which are differentiated from the products which are available in the market, or even services, has helped us to build up this brand equity. Products and services like Easy Clean, Weathercoat Anti-Dust, Express Painting, and even Silk Breathe Easy of late are iconic brands within the Berger portfolio, which has helped us to build this brand equity. Our history, which began way back in 1923, was very humble, with a small factory near Kolkata in Howrah. And in 1923 December we started this journey, and we have been now almost 100 years now in India. We have come to a level of about 6,800 crores in terms of our revenue, with presence across India, Nepal, Russia, Poland, etc. We are one of the few companies which are still headquartered in Kolkata and continues to remain here and do well. And we have grown to a size where today in the world we are the 14th largest in the paints and coatings universe and within the top 5 in Asia. Thank you once again to Economic Times for recognizing this effort on our part.
Congratulations to Berger Paints family for that achievement. Next up, we have another fabulous brand. Please put your hands together for Big Bazaar. Congratulations to the Big Bazaar family for that achievement. Next up, we have another fantabulous brand. Please put your hands together for Bisleri. Congratulations to Bisleri for that achievement. Next up, we have another amazing brand. Please put your hands together for Enrich. Congratulations to the Enrich family for that achievement. Next up, another great brand. Please put your hands together for JSW Cement. Congratulations to JSW Cement for that achievement. Now, up next, this is not an Indian brand, but it has operated in India for over 200 years. And we are recognizing this homecoming of perhaps one of the most recognizable brands on the planet. Please put your hands together for the East India Company.
I'm Sanjeev Mehta, CEO of the East India Company in London. I'm extremely honored for the East India Company to be recognized as iconic brand of India in 2021. On behalf of our team and my colleagues, I thank the Economic Times for this felicitation, which means a great deal to us. There is no question that the last year has been the most challenging in our 10 years journey, especially as we are in the retail sector at a global level. Having said that, the East India Company has always thrived in its pioneering spirit. The challenges have inspired us to transform our business and grow aggressively in the digital offering. The recognition of us as an iconic brand in India means a huge amount to us and inspires us to continue to our exciting journey. Together with our team and our partners, our suppliers and our customers, we thank very much for this honor. Thank you.
Congratulations to all the winners for this recognition and achievement. Well, that brings us to the end of this beach holiday for all of us, even if it is virtual. But we have a finale of the beach holiday for you, and that is that we have a whole lot of games that involves all of these brands that you need to play right now. And there's also a photo booth that you can click a neat selfie with, post it on your LinkedIn, post it on your Twitter, and do remember to use the hashtag ET Iconic Brands. Well, that's the end of the 4th edition of the Iconic Brands of India 2021, presented by Economic Times. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us this evening. This is Pavleen Gujral. I'm signing off for the day, but you have a fabulous evening ahead and have a great night. Looking forward to another successful edition of the 5th edition of the Iconic Brands of India, presented by Economic Times. This is Pavleen Gujral signing off. Goodbye, and remember, stay home, stay safe.
you.